I'm going to live forever.
Adam Curry, John C. Dvorak.
It's Thursday, March 9th, 2017. This is your award-winning Gitmo Nation Media Assassination, episode 910.
This is No Agenda.
Following the Stingray's tale for 5 years and counting, and broadcasting live from the darkest corners on the internet here in downtown Austin, Tejas, capital of the Drone Star State. In the morning, everybody. I'm Adam Curry.
And from northern Silicon Valley, where they're working on the road outside, I'm just going to be very distracted. I'm John C. Dvorak.
It's Craigpot and Buzzkill in the morning.
Well, it's the big infrastructure plan. It's already underway there.
We got a note, like they sent us a note about a week ago from Pacific Gas and Electric because they're changing all the pipes or something.
Yeah.
And gas lines. And
I can hear
we're
it.
done with you guys. We're good to go.
I can hear it. I can hear what they're doing outside. I can hear it in the background.
You want me to open the window?
No, that's okay. I trust you. So you got a note, and they said, we're going to be working on stuff. That's what happened.
No, they sent a note saying we're done working.
Oh, we're done working.
We finished the project. We're done. We're good. I want to thank you for your tolerance. They've been working every day ever since.
Thank you for your courage.
Thank you for your courage.
Well, get used to it because, Presidente Trump is going to bring us the big infrastructure change.
The big dig.
Yeah. Reference to the Boston's big dig. How long was that thing going on? 15 years or something?
35 years.
No, was it 35?
$100 billion. No, it was something. It was long.
It was a long time.
And it was a jip.
Yeah, it was
anything.
It was a tunnel, right? It was a tunnel.
Yeah, it's a little tunnel from part A of town to part B of town.
Well, when President Trump did his when he addressed Congress, the joint session, he mentioned his infrastructure plan for $1 trillion with public-private partnership.
Yeah,
which
that means we take public money and give it to a private company. That's your partnership.
I'm not so sure. I don't like what the idea is, but I'm not so sure it's what you say. Our new Transportation Secretary, Elaine Chao, was on. Maybe she's on Hannity. She explains what it is with a little bit of prompting from SeanHannity.com. Try that one out. But she also flubs and makes some mistakes, which are very egregious, and I'm very wary about this infrastructure plan.
The needs of our nation to improve our infrastructure is so great that the federal government cannot assume the cost for all of it. So it behooves us as a nation to address the deteriorating infrastructure by thinking about new and innovative ways in which we can fund our infrastructure. And so President Trump has so many really exciting and novel ideas about how to finance.
No, there's nothing exciting about financing, lady. Nothing.
Our deteriorating infrastructure.
Let alone novel.
Well, it's not novel. Listen up.
Our deteriorating infrastructure. So that once again,
did she say deteriorating?
I think she said deteriorating, but we can listen again.
No, I think she said deteriorating.
Let's listen.
Infrastructure. So that.
Oh, let me roll back a little bit further.
Finance our deteriorating infrastructure.
Just deteriorating. Yeah, she does have an issue. Yeah,
little Barbara Walters.
An R issue. Yeah, Barbara Walters.
So that once again, we will become more competitive in the worldwide environment, and so that America can be great once again.
Now she's got that part down, but now.
So basically, we allow
What? She flubs. We allow foreign.
You're going to let China build these.
and it gets worse because as she's speaking, so she said,
I have a novel idea. What we're going to do here is we're going to have China. That won't cost us a nickel. And they'll build a freeway from San Francisco to Los Angeles. And to help pay for it, it'll be a toll road so China can collect the money to make so the thing works out for them.
Correct you are. Listen to her flub again and how she tries to correct it.
Basically, we allow different kinds of money, private sector money, to come into the United States. I'm not saying foreign.
She doubles down. Private sector money to come into the United States. I'm not saying foreign. Sorry. You're full of crap, lady. That's exactly what you're talking about. She flubs it, and then she does it again, and then she says, I'm not talking about foreign money. I got to hear that whole thing again. This lady's nuts.
Well, different kinds of money, private sector money, to come into the United States, I'm not saying foreign, to come and fund, let's say, a bridge or a road, or it can be any kind of infrastructure.
A podcast studio.
By the way, I should also add that the president's initiative on infrastructure will include probably energy, water.
Okay, hold on a second. I'm just regurgitating in my mind what she said. When she said, I'm not saying foreign, but her wordage is the following. We're going to allow money to come in.
That's what I just said. That's what I just said. She doubled down on it. First she said foreign, then she said we're going to allow money to come into the United States. Yeah, I'm not saying foreign. And then she says I'm not saying foreign right after it.
But what does it mean? What is she thinking? Why don't she just say it? Well, we're going to let foreign money come in and pay for this stuff, and I don't know how we're going to pay them back.
We're kind of like Africa. Bring the Chinese in. Let them build everything.
Perfect.
We've become
Chinese
Africa.
Love building roads.
Yeah, they're very good. And railroads. They're very good at it.
Infrastructure will include probably energy, water, broadband. So it's not just roads and bridges.
So maybe if I'm hearing...
Listen to the great one, Sean Hannity. Whoa, gee, if I'm hearing you correctly, I think we're going to be paying tolls, won't we?
So maybe if I'm hearing you properly, maybe what you're saying is that, for example, if a company were to rebuild a road, they might get their investment back by, say, having a toll on that road, and this way the taxpayers don't pay a penny. Yeah. They make a profit. It's a win.
No, you don't pay a penny, only when you want to use it.
Win-win? Something like that?
Yes, thank you for putting it that way.
Whoa.
Thank you, because I didn't want to say toll. That was not. I've already effed up on the foreign money thing. I should just back off.
Something like that.
Yes, thank you for putting it that way.
Yes, that's
that is certainly one example of how that would work. Now, I have to say there are some people who may not support toll roads.
Yeah, I'm waving my hand, raising my hand here, lady.
But we have to take a look at all of these financing mechanisms because once again, the needs of our infrastructure are so great that the federal government cannot and should not be the only source of funding to repair our bridges, our roads, our energy grid, and to install new aspects of the infrastructure for a new America of the future.
New aspects, the new America of the future. I don't know. Elon Musk with his
new aspect,
the Hyperloop.
Oh yeah. The Hyperloop tube.
The Hyperloop.
I've got to take a crap now that we said, what am I going to do?
Hop on the Hyperloop. Hey, I'm against toll roads. We have them in Texas.
Well, here's what I think. Because as a Californian, native born,
you have road issues.
We have always been against toll roads, even though I think there are a couple of private ones here and there. Texas has a lot of toll roads, private and public.
Yeah, and they're not used as much. The 130 is going bankrupt because no one's using it.
It's too expensive.
It's too expensive, and what's worse, it actually takes up some of the existing road, at least the way I see it's been built.
And here's another thing about some of these toll roads that are too expensive. The idea of the toll road, as in modern sense, not in the old sense, it was more like what they're talking about. But in the modern sense, the idea of the toll road is so you can get from point A to point B without getting stopped and delayed. These roads, they have so many toll stops that it just takes as long to get from point A to point B as you got to slow down.
But now we have the Easy Pass, and of course that gives the benefit you only slow down a bit. But the real benefit is you're tracked everywhere. As you know, you put your Easy Pass in a Faraday cage when you're driving around San Francisco.
Yes, I keep my Easy Pass, which is only used on the bridge or any bridge around here. I keep it in I don't even use a Faraday. I just use aluminum foil. It works fine if I already tested these things. You just wrap it in a little cheap aluminum foil.
You tested it with your own EMP?
Yeah.
I could just see you with dry cell batteries like, what it is.
You throw in the glove box and in some aluminum foil, and you can you're good to go. And it's not that I give a crap about being tracked everywhere, because, for example, I could be charged with a crime and prove my innocence by the tracking device.
Yeah, possible, but
I just don't like the idea of being tracked or watched by the Samsung TV. It's too 1984 for my taste.
Okay, you want to go there now?
I guess so.
But let's just finalize this.
Okay.
I really don't like toll roads. I just don't understand why people put up with it. You know, the excuse here is we don't have the money. Okay. We spent, what's it, $3-4 trillion killing brown people in sandy regions.
Yeah, building roads there.
Yeah, so could we maybe just save a little, kill less brown people and then build the roads? I don't understand why this can't be.
I'm totally in agreement with you.
Yeah, I don't like it. I just don't. And Texans in general don't like it, as far as I can tell.
And it's just more, it's taken privatization to the extreme.
Well, really, what it is, it's for rich people. It's for rich people. It's a convenience for rich people who can afford the toll.
Right.
I mean, you look at Manhattan now. When I was working in Manhattan and driving in from New Jersey, the toll was $4. It's now $15, going to $20. Who can afford that?
Golden Gate Bridge, the same thing. And
who can afford $400 a month in tolls?
I have the Golden Gate Bridge over here. I think is $7 or $8 now, and it's and then you have to have a pass too because they don't even want to pay the toll takers. So you have to have a pass. It's a pain in the ass, and I still have advertisements for both the Golden Gate Bridge and the San Francisco Bay Bridge, talking about Golden Gate Bridge in particular, talking about how it's always going to be free. Always going to be free. Forever. It's going to be free forever. So just pass the bond to build it.
I'm sorry. I take it back. It is $24 to get into Manhattan. $15 is for a motorcycle.
That's a jip.
Well, it forces people onto the PATH train. And people can't afford this. Anyway, fine.
No, in fact, you can get into Manhattan by using from the Jamaica station, using the little shuttle thing that goes to Kennedy.
Yeah.
Which for less than $24.
Yeah, I'm talking about from New Jersey or Connecticut.
From Jersey,
getting into the island of Manhattan. Just briefly, do you think there are any other innovative, exciting ways this can be financed that would not result in foreign money coming in to build stuff? And then, although it is also true that the way we deal with the Chinese in Africa, when they're there taking all the resources and building the roads and the hospitals, then we come in and kick them out. So maybe
we could just nationalize this stuff after they.
That's what I was thinking. Just nationalize it. Just do reverse privatization. Hey, thanks, China. Oops, we just nationalized it. Possible.
But that would give us a bad reputation. In other words, we'd only do that trick once.
If
we ever did that.
Well, so before we get into that other thing, let me just say something about China. This didn't get a lot of play that I saw, but I did like it. If we can only do this 1,000 more times, we'll have our infrastructure.
Good morning.
Oh, this is our brand new Secretary of the Treasury, Mr. Ross.
Today, the U.S. Attorney for the Northern District of Texas filed a criminal plea agreement and information regarding ZTE Corporation and their egregious, deliberate violations of U.S. restrictions on trade with Iran. This resulted from an investigation initiated by the Department of Commerce, Bureau of Industrial Security. ZTE has admitted liability and agreed, subject to approval of the court, to an unprecedented $1.19 billion total combined criminal and civil penalty paid to the Departments of Commerce, Justice, and Treasury.
I apologize. He's the Secretary of the Department of Commerce.
With this action, we are putting the world on notice. Improper trade games are over with. Those who flout our economic sanctions, export control laws, and any other trade regimes will not go unpunished. They will suffer the harshest of consequences.
This guy proves that AI really does work, though, doesn't he? I am not a robot. I like to talk very loud into the microphone. Well, good. Get those Chiners.
Who's ZTE?
I think they provide chips.
Well, I think we should know. They provide chips to Iran?
Yeah, I think so.
What does Iran build with chips? You probably thought they were buying potato chips for all we know.
Phones, tablets, internet, all kinds of devices. It's here, ZTE, Chinese multinational telecommunications equipment.
It's a Chinese company. Why don't you just go after? Oh,
that's what I said. I said Chinese. You gotta, man. This.
I heard you say it, but I wasn't thinking it was much more than that. And then I'm realizing that they're going after a Chinese company that's doing business here.
Yes. Yes, and they do business all over the world, but they
they're a big company. I know who they are.
Okay.
Well, I'm sure they could do the same thing if they want to go after National Semi or TI or Intel or AMD. If they really looked into it.
Well,
but okay,
but I think this is specifically against China.
Yeah, and so when we had our banking crisis that brought the whole economy down, not one banker goes to jail, but they're going to file criminal papers on some guy who sold a couple of chips to Iran. Okay, makes sense. Yeah, it's fair.
I don't know. The comparison is it's two different things. But
no, I'm just saying, these guys, they have their priorities, and, apparently
they do.
Bringing the economy down is not one of them.
No.
So
there you go. Yeah, so you're up to speed. Maybe briefly, Day Without a Woman.
Oh, okay. I got a Day Without the Woman clip.
Oh, give me something.
Okay, I see what it says. It says you're going to go to a Day Without a Woman. Woman's Day Off. There you go.
There you go. Is this a backgrounder?
Kind of.
Quite a few women stayed away from work today. They marched and some wore red in solidarity with what they're calling a Day Without a Woman. But Anna Werner was on the job.
Wait, hold on a second.
Hey, she was working.
They got her working. They got all these other people working.
What's up with that?
The Congress working.
That's not good.
I didn't see any women that weren't working.
Tina was working. I asked. I said, did anyone take off today? She said, no, children need to be helped.
People that didn't take off, they did do the appropriate communist thing, because this actually is a throwback to an old communist. Not pre-Soviet, real communists. They don't exist anymore except in America. They had to wear the red dress.
Yeah. Either that or it was a callback to Julia Roberts. Was it?
Hookers.
Hookers, yeah.
It's either a callback to hookers or the Soviets. Okay, go on.
I'll take either one for 20, Alec.
Quite a few women stayed away from work today. They marched and some wore red in solidarity with what they're calling a Day Without a Woman. But Anna Werner was on the job.
A day without a woman is a day without me.
From New York to Los Angeles, Istanbul to St. Petersburg, women walked off their jobs to protest.
I wanted to show the White House that we are here. We're not leaving.
And to demand equity.
We're rejecting a world that still pays women less.
Women make about 79 cents for every dollar made by men. On Capitol Hill, Democratic lawmakers highlighted the inequities by stepping out themselves.
We walked out to say enough is enough.
Teachers in Alexandria, Virginia agreed. 300 of the district's 1,400 educators stayed home, forcing the schools to close. Self-employed mother Anna Yeager took her 4 children to the playground instead.
My 6th grader just finished up a National History Day project where the theme was people taking a stand in history. So today he gets to see his teachers taking a stand.
District spokesperson Helen Lloyd says the closure decision was based on safety.
What do you say to parents who say you're closing because of this?
We've had that reaction and we understand it. For us, it's not because of any political reason or because of any cause. It is simply looking at the data.
Alexandria's Jill Erber, who owns 3 wine and cheese shops, says she's making her own statement.
To me, the best way to demonstrate the strength of women in the workplace is to be in the workplace and to grow our businesses and employ the women that we employ.
Yeah, I agree. As predicted, what I saw were a bunch of middle-aged white women predominantly in the United States. I didn't see everything from all around the world.
It'd be the same.
And I just don't understand the concept. Was the idea to bring the world to a screeching halt? Was that the idea? Was that supposed to show?
That didn't work. Yeah.
Well, that's what I mean.
I think that was the intent.
That's what strikes are typically about. You strike. This is why I think they need to go full Lysistrata. They need to go no sex. That's where they should be going with this, because that will make a difference. But just to, there was no difference. Nothing stopped.
This is like, the no sex thing is like the one of the funniest Seinfeld episodes.
Yeah, it is.
Where they decide to make a bet on no masturbation.
No masturbation, yeah.
And they all put $10, in the pot, or no, they don't put anything in the pot until they fail. And they said, okay, we're going to do it. And then they all go their separate ways. And within 2 minutes, Kramer comes back and throws the 10 down. Says, okay, you guys.
So while I understand that, of course, protesting is fantastic. Do whatever you want. But it was really just, we hate Donald Trump. That's what I saw. I saw one of our...
Yes, why don't they be honest about it?
Yeah, just say Women Hate Trump Day would be fine. I have a couple...
Women Hate Trump Day is a great idea.
One of our producers took a couple of pictures. Let me see. I have some placards, some signs. We have, our future is female, matriarchy now. There's something written in, I think, Arabic.
In crayon?
No, but translated underneath, women owe you shit. That's towards Donald Trump.
Well, that's a good one.
And I have, pregnancy is not a pre-existing condition. Wow, that's old. If you respect women, then pay us like you do. I mean, oh, jeez. And I'm telling you, I'm just looking at these pictures, and it's predominantly middle-aged, privileged white women who, of course, were shopping at stores owned and run by women of color because they can't take off.
No, I don't know. They're blacks. They can't take off.
I'm sorry. I didn't dig it. I did not. I felt it was senseless. It's senseless.
Back to the 50s.
Yeah, exactly. Hillary Clinton participated, although she didn't go out, mainly because she has a horrendous haircut and she's cross-eyed like a crazy woman right now. And that is evidenced on her Snapchat, which she sent out into the universe.
There's a lot to fight for. Planned Parenthood, education, healthcare, jobs. Every issue is a woman's issue. So stand up, resist, run for office, be a champion.
There's nothing quite like Hillary saying resist.
But resist. We must. We must, and we will much.
So stand up, resist.
About that, be committed.
Resist, she says. Resist. All right, Hill.
What do you think is causing this eyeball problem with her?
I think it's the same thing she's had. It's something with her brain. From the air quotes fall.
I think it goes back to that plane crash.
It must,
because I never saw it before the plane crash, and of course the plane crash has been completely hushed up, and we haven't even talked about it.
No.
For almost through the entire election, we've rarely mentioned it.
You were talking about real communism.
Yeah, the old-fashioned kind, Marxism.
Yeah. I picked up
not Marxism, the old-fashioned international communist conspiracy that really was at its peak in the 50s.
I picked up a quote from Ronald Reagan, who explains not communism, but where fascism will come from if it ever comes to America. I don't know if you've ever heard this quote from him before. I had not, but I liked it.
Someone very profoundly once said many years ago that if fascism ever comes to America, it'll come in the name of liberalism. And what is fascism? Fascism is private ownership, private enterprise, but total government control and regulation. Well, isn't this the liberal philosophy? The conservative, so-called, is the one that says less government, get off my back, get out of my pocket, and let me have more control of my own destiny.
There you go.
Yeah, I think I've heard that before.
Do you agree with his assertion there?
Yeah, generally I do.
Okay. Well, just something to be aware of.
But at the same time, I'm for socialized medicine, single payer. You've heard this before. I know you tried to argue. I'm not going to discuss it.
I don't argue with you about that. I let you go. That's your standpoint. I don't argue. Other people argue by sending me emails about things you say. That's how it works.
Yes, and don't forget, if you have I'm telling the audience right now, you have any complaint with me, you send me a note at curry.com, adam@curry.com, and I will ignore it. Adam can take it up with me.
Oh, yeah. I'll take it up.
Send him an ask, and Adam will bring it up on the show.
I have now 8 or 9 homeschoolers saying, you're right. Vouchers is about government involvement through money. Dvorak is wrong.
I don't know if I had printed it out for today's show, but we'll discuss this eventually. I had a bunch of people writing me. I had both sides, though. I had the side that says, "Oh, those unschooler nuts are ruining it for all of us," and then you had the unschoolers that write in, and they say, "You don't understand it at all,
right? And
here's why." And then they go on to their little pitch, and then somehow they make they don't see they really see any kind of, and they accuse me, by the way, of being a hypocrite for saying, once the government gets involved in something, this is my net neutrality argument with the FCC, and I've said it and written about it. Once the government gets involved, next thing you know, they're regulating you.
Right.
And so the homeschoolers believe the same thing. Well, you're already being regulated by the government, even if you are a homeschooler in most states. In some states, less so than others. Other states try to just shut you down if they can and arrest you. I mean, California is borderline that kind of way. We homeschooled in Washington State, which has it's very amenable to homeschoolers, but they do make you take tests.
I did want to mention, everybody, that, John, you did homeschool your kids, so you have standing. You have standing. You have standing.
They know that.
You have standing.
I understand the scene.
Yeah.
And
the milieu.
It's a milieu. It is.
Milieu. Yes.
And it's an interesting one, too, because it's deep. People think, I don't know, it's too much work at the home. No. Homeschooling, unless you're unschooling and you get some philosophy that's your own, and it's crazy.
Yeah.
And I said that. There is a great infrastructure for homeschooling. There's a lot of field trips. There's all the different religions have their homeschooling methodology. Some of them are a little more snooty than others. Christians mostly. The Jewish homeschoolers are amenable to a mixture of people going to their events. The Muslim homeschoolers are very open, much more so than just about anybody else. And the Christians are, now, if you're not this way or that way, and you have to sign an oath and do all this other stuff to get in our group to go to see a cow farm, it's outrageous. At least in Washington State, where there's a lot of very strict Christian. But anyway, I will address this whole thing again one of these days.
Okay, you can do that as a part of your forthcoming education special.
Exactly. Be right in line with that. And the vinegar.
After the vinegar book and the cycles book and if unfortunately you pass before I do, my eulogy is going to be great. I'm not passing
anytime soon.
My eulogy is going to be great for you.
I'm going to live forever.
Okay.
There you go. You got a clip there.
Yeah, I already got one. We're just starting out.
Yeah.
Nice.
If I pass out before you, what?
My eulogy will be great. We'll talk about all the projects you worked on, and we'll bury them with you.
This is manuscript from the site.
And that won't be a problem because the pile will fall over, and that's how your demise comes. Anyway.
That's what happened to some guy. I was reading some news article about some. Did you see about the guy who died in his
pile
collection?
Fell over.
His pile fell on him. He died. He was dead for like a month before they
under the pile.
Yeah.
But you know what? We won't be able to find you, but we'll find your keyboard first.
Yeah, the keyboard. Well, the keyboard's on the floor. So I had this problem happening on the Horowitz show.
What, the keyboard? You're losing the keyboard?
The keyboard's on the floor, and I kick it with my... this happened on our last show. You didn't notice it.
With your Croc. You kick it with your Croc.
I don't wear Crocs. I wear Speedos.
I'm sorry.
Actually, I wear Skechers. That's my favorite shoe right now. So the keyboard is on the floor. Hold on, I'm trying to move it. The keyboard's on the floor, and I don't know what key it is. Somebody can maybe knows. But there's one key, and I just bumped it with my foot, and it turns on the mute key.
Oh.
It mutes the system. So now I don't hear anything, and I think, what? This happened on our last show, your and me.
Oh.
And then I did it on Horowitz. Huh. And but I said, what the hell?
Well, it may be a key with a little speaker icon with a line drawn through it. You might want to check that.
Let's see.
I have one on my...
It's got to be down at the bottom.
On the speaker, there's like a couple speaker controls, and then one that has no little sound waves emanating from it. That would be...
I got MCE, my TV, my videos, my music, my pictures. No.
What kind of keyboard did you get? A web TV?
This is an Azio.
My Little Pony.
Yeah, it says this.
You press a button.
Pictures, the record. Let's see what happens when I hit my pictures.
No, don't do it. Don't.
It doesn't do anything.
Don't do anything. Let's just carry on.
Here's the key. Here's the speaker's keys, and they're not anywhere near where I'd kick.
All right. We'll work on this. Maybe I can get you a proper keyboard.
This keyboard's dynamite. Don't kid yourself.
All right.
I don't need a proper keyboard.
So for me, the word today, John, is stingray. This is the piece that I believe is missing from the conversation about wiretapping. Stingray.
Okay. You want to talk about the wiretapping before we talk about the WikiLeaks? I have long sets.
It kind of flows in. So go ahead, start with your set. We can do WikiLeaks. Absolutely.
Well, I wanted to. Okay, the wiki. Why don't you give a little background on what happened?
WikiLeaks result. WikiLeaks released. Was it Vault 7, Day 0? Which was a interesting collection of things, which to me, I didn't really learn anything new.
Well, I did, and I'm going to tell you why it was called Day 0, because it actually, and nobody talked about this. In fact, I'll give some examples. Let's start with the CBS report. When this thing first broke, CBS did 2 reports. I'm very propagandistic, of course.
Yeah.
And let's play the CBS reports on WikiLeaks Part 1 with its typical slants.
Central Intelligence Agency has lost control of highly classified documents and computer code that describe top-secret techniques for intercepting phone calls, reading encrypted text messages, and turning televisions into eavesdropping devices. Today, WikiLeaks, the anti-secrecy website, dumped thousands of pages of CIA documents in a breach of national security that is being compared to Edward Snowden's theft at the NSA. The CIA is prohibited by law from operating in the United States, but Jeff Pegues reports the breach has seriously damaged the agency's work overseas.
WikiLeaks claims the stolen data came from a former U.S. government hacker or contractor, codename Vault 7. The disclosures reveal cyber espionage tools that can take over internet-connected or smart TVs and record audio. The documents also cite the ability to hack iPhone or Google Android smartphones. Those hacks allow the CIA to then monitor the communications of terrorist groups like ISIS, which have been using encrypted apps to communicate. Critics have wondered why apps like WhatsApp or Telegram haven't been disabled, but the documents suggest analysts have the ability to exploit them. Earlier this year, U.S. intelligence officials accused WikiLeaks of being a propaganda arm of the Russian government after it released damaging Democratic Party emails stolen through Russian cyber attacks. When the emails were published during the presidential campaign, candidate Donald Trump praised the organization.
WikiLeaks, I love WikiLeaks.
But the latest disclosures now threaten U.S. intelligence capabilities.
Okay, a couple things there before we go on.
Yeah.
I'm going to cut it off there. They already put it in stolen through this Russian stole from the DNC. That just as a matter of fact.
Yeah, well, that's how it works. Doesn't matter what you say, just keep repeating it.
We're stuck with this meme.
Yeah.
And if anybody out there goes to dinner with someone who doesn't listen to the show, this will come up and you're going to go.
You're going to just roll your eyes and not say anything.
You just mumble. Idiot.
Under your breath. Idiot.
The other thing is that saying I love WikiLeaks is not the same as praising them. This is the kind of misreporting that I accuse CBS of doing constantly.
I agree. But that's also an alternate universe perspective, the way people listen to things. Yes.
And so you say Donald Trump praised WikiLeaks. And the quote was, WikiLeaks, I love WikiLeaks. It's not a praise at all. It is just that you love them. You love them, but you don't think that you just love them.
I agree.
I mean, you love things that you think they're crap.
No, things I think are crap I don't love. No, I know what you're talking about. But I understand what you're saying.
Some old comfy shoes or something.
Yeah.
Anyway, so they go on. with this kind of thing. And here's part 2.
WikiLeaks says it has more information than that revealed by NSA leaker Edward Snowden, former CIA acting director Michael Morrell. How would you compare this to Snowden?
This is CIA's Edward Snowden.
That big?
This is huge. In terms of what it will tell the adversaries, and we'll have to essentially start...
Well, I need to stop that for a second. He said this is CIA's Edward Snowden.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah. Edward Snowden of the day, by the way.
Yeah, Edward Snowden spied on and released CIA documents. He was a spy for the CIA and released NSA documents.
Yes. So does anybody want to put 2 and 2 together?
Hello.
In terms of what it will tell the adversaries, and we'll have to essentially start over in building tools to get information from our adversaries.
You know what? I'm going to take that back. Let me just roll that back again. Let's just be in the alternate universe for a moment, the way we hear people do this all the time on the news, and take what Mike Morrell says here. And
we're straddling.
We're straddling. This is a straddle. This is a straddle. Be careful, everybody. Hold on a second.
Get the safety net out. The boys are straddling.
Okay, here we go.
WikiLeaks says it has more information than that revealed by NSA leaker Edward Snowden, former CIA acting director Michael Morrell. How would you compare this to Snowden?
This is CIA's Edward Snowden.
So you can take that saying, this is Ed Snowden did this. You can say this is the NSA doing this to the CIA. There's so many ways you can interpret this.
That's the only way I interpret it.
I agree with you.
This is the NSA's, oh, really? You're going to do that to us? We know Snowden's a CIA guy. He said so a million times. He still has his card, apparently. Can't get him out of Russia, though, can you, boys? And here's a little gift for you. Boom. And this was brought up to what's funny about it. The NSA, I think, has every right to do this because this is all their job. They're the ones who are supposed to be doing this sort of thing. And I think they're irked that the CIA is doing it.
Where did this alternate universe story come from?
Came from the alternate universe.
Let's continue with the clip.
Snowden.
This is CIA's Edward Snowden.
That big?
This is huge.
Huge.
In terms of what it will tell the adversaries, and we'll have to essentially start over in building tools to get information from our adversaries.
Oh, please. You took Russian tools and repurposed them, you moron.
Just like we did with Snowden.
Just like we do with Snowden.
There is no suggestion in the documents that these tools were being used against Americans. Scott, the CIA is not commenting on the data, nor would it confirm its authenticity.
Oh, no, of course not.
Yeah.
Nice.
They don't have to.
I like that. I'm going to give you a borderline for that one. I thought that was pretty damn good.
All right, then onward. So we want to hear actually the most balanced and most interesting and most revealing, because he wouldn't answer the question, was when Panetta was on PBS. But before we go there, let's go to RT, because they, of course, get a kick out of this stuff, and they like to give us the needle. Mm-hmm. And so they introduced Caleb Maupin, who's that character who does these kinds of reports, and he looks into it for us. This is Caleb Maupin on
WikiLeaks has come out with a new batch of CIA documents, and the revelations are quite impressive. Apparently, American spies can hack almost any type of smartphone, bypass encryption, and snoop via smart TV. Now, the documents show that the U.S. consulate in Frankfurt is apparently a secret CIA cyber surveillance hub. All kinds of agents whose primary work is spying on people in the Middle East, Africa, and Europe have set up shop right under Berlin's nose with diplomatic visas. Remember what Angela Merkel once said?
Since we started talking about the NSA, I have always made it clear to the U.S. president, spying among friends is not acceptable.
Too bad those being spied on are often longtime U.S. allies and NATO members. Back in 2012, the United States spied on the French presidential election campaign. And should we even bother to bring up Merkel's own phone? What more? The CIA has a program allowing it to mimic all sorts of techniques. It's called umbrage, and it leaves behind the fingerprints, i.e. the password lists, keyloggers, etc., of other hackers. Essentially, it allows the CIA to make it look like someone else did it. And the CIA maintains a substantial library of tricks and techniques stolen from other countries, including Russia.
That's one of the classic aspects of it, which is done, not, of course, just by the CIA, but by other agencies, and that is to give the impression that the the attack is coming from another source, and that's one of the state-of-the-art ways of doing it. You, of course, demonstrate, or you throw, if you like, the investigators off the scent by giving the impression it comes from multiple targets or multiple sources, and that's certainly one of the cases that has been made, of course, in recent times with allegations of hacking and interference in electoral systems and so on.
CIA officials refused to confirm the authenticity of the report, but available experts aren't exactly questioning or doubting it. The fact that the CIA is able to carry out essentially false flag hacking is certainly relevant in the conversation in the lead up to several European elections and the rumors about mysterious Russian hackers. Caleb Maupin, RT, New York.
For a little addition to this, I have a Euronews report. So that was the Russia Today. Here is Euronews with their version of this story. Sorry. That was a fortuitous accident.
Not for the first time, Germany finds itself at the center of a spying scandal involving the United States. This time, all eyes are on the U.S. consulate in Frankfurt. It's being used as a covert base for CIA hacking operations covering Europe, the Middle East and Africa, according to the whistleblower website WikiLeaks. The German government says it takes the publication of the CIA documents seriously, as does this Green Party MP, who's already part of a German parliamentary inquiry into a previous spying scandal involving the U.S. National Security Agency. This matter must be investigated immediately, he says. In 2013, German media reported claims that U.S. intelligence agencies used the American embassy in Berlin as a listening station. Revelations by former NSA contractor Edward Snowden about wide-ranging espionage in Germany by the U.S. included allegations that it bugged Chancellor Merkel's mobile phone.
All right, so there's the Euronews version. I like yours better.
Okay, there's a couple of things we should make note of here for the people that aren't familiar with what's going on with Snowden, why they don't shoot him.
Mm-hmm.
He does have a dead man switch. And all the files, and this is only supposedly 1% of the total gross number of files he's going to release, the next group being supposedly...
Wait, you say Snowden, but you mean Assange.
I mean Assange, sorry. Assange. So the Assange is not being killed because he has a dead man switch, and he's already released the entire universe of these files, of which this is only 1%.
Right.
The next group coming out will be supposedly about the U.S. Senate and about senators in the Senate that are beholden to the CIA.
Who, of course, we know that the CIA spied on the Senate.
Now, yes, because of and the one got the most irked by it was Feinstein.
Yeah,
he seemed to be the only one honest enough to bitch about it. Anyway, so the whole thing is out, and a number of people have downloaded it. It's I don't know what the file size is, but it's huge.
I got a copy.
Oh, you do?
Of course.
And it's not accessible, but if something happens to Assange, the key goes out and you can get the whole thing.
Unlock it, exactly.
And that's the idea. So that's what's going on. So the thing is out there and everybody has a copy. I don't have a copy, just so you know. And so let's go now. But again, we had to go back to this original release and how many people did reports on this without picking up on the thematic aspect of the 0 day name of it. And let's start by going to PBS, which did pick up on it. They didn't pick up on it on their initial discussion, but here they are. This is Panetta. He shows up to be the apologist in waiting for the CIA. And he comes on PBS, and this is Panetta on PBS One.
Yesterday's WikiLeaks dump of documents was yet another major breach of classified information inside U.S. intelligence services. Hari Srinivasan picks up our story.
Today, the story about intelligence leaks advanced on multiple fronts. Reuters reported intelligence officials have known about the security breach since last year and are focused on contractors as the likeliest source of the leak. And White House Press Secretary Sean Spicer said President Trump is extremely concerned about the breach. For more on all of this, we turn to Leon Panetta. He served as the CIA director during the Obama administration. Mr. Panetta, first, what's happening in the CIA right now? If it's a mole, how do they find him? If it's an inside job, him or her, or if it's from the outside, how do we figure out where we were hacked?
Well, I think the more important issue is going to be how do you replace those important tools that have now been made public.
Okay. So he starts off right away with not answering the question.
But we knew these tools had been lost or stolen or had
well, yeah, they knew over a year ago that the hack is taking place.
Yeah.
But so now we're going to get to the bottom of why it was called the 0-day.
Okay.
So, and only PBS picked this up. And, of course, we have Panetta here, who's already avoided the first question, and he's definitely not going to answer this one. So we're going to we have 3 clips in a row where we pretty much hear the same question asked over and over and over again in different ways. And Panetta goes on and on and on about something else. He refuses to talk about this. But this is the key question that needs to be addressed.
I think it caught a lot of people by surprise that the CIA has such an extensive hacking operation. Don't we have the NSA for that? Why is the CIA doing this?
Well, the CIA does it for intelligence gathering purposes abroad. It's not done here in the United States. It's done abroad. And
hold on, stop,
for that
stop.
reason,
the NSA is not a domestic spying operation.
No.
It can do it, but it's an overseas signal processing operation that takes in every communication it can and tries to analyze it. So they'd be more interested in doing this than the CIA which it should be more boots on the ground and less NSA stuff. So this is a misdirection. This answer's bullcrap.
Yeah. Yeah, what can I say? Yes.
Intelligence gathering purposes abroad. It's not done here in the United States. It's done abroad. And for that reason, the CIA has to develop the capabilities that it has developed in order to be able to track those that are known suspects of terrorism. We went through 9/11. There was a national commission that was established to find out why we were attacked.
Yeah, okay. That's 9/11. Bring that back in. Fine.
Okay, so that's question 1 that's cleared up. Now we go to clip 3, which has got, I think, the question we're looking for.
Speaking of sharing information, back in 2010, when you were still CIA director, the Obama administration said that they would share 0-day vulnerabilities, those hacks that are core in pieces of software, like in an Apple iPhone or an Android operating system, with the technology companies. But here we have evidence that the CIA has hoarded a lot of those 0-day vulnerabilities and really violated that trust.
Well, I have to tell you, at least in my time as director of the CIA, that we had a very good relationship with Silicon Valley and with high-tech companies. We had a cooperative relationship. Obviously, they have their interests, and we respect that. They are dealing with privacy issues, and we respect that as well. But in the end, all of us are concerned about being able to ensure that we are able to go after terrorists, that we're able to detect when they are planning attacks on this country and elsewhere, and that we are able to take steps to protect this country. And I think what we have to do is make sure that we get back to that kind of cooperative relationship.
I like that he still speaks as if he's CIA director. You notice that?
Yes, he does that.
We got to do this. We got to take care of it. It's just like he's still there.
Yeah, well, he probably still is in some sense. But he didn't answer the question.
No, of course not.
You agreed, Panetta, and all your buddies agreed that you're going to share these 0-day exploits, hence the name of the file that was released.
I got you. Yep.
You're going to share these 0-day things to help these companies from being screwed over by various exploits or bad actors or the mafia or who knows who by telling them. That was the deal. What happened to the deal? That's the question. He didn't answer that question. He doesn't answer it again.
The thing that has a lot of people concerned is when you keep these 0-day vulnerabilities to yourself and you don't tell Apple or you don't tell Google or you don't tell Microsoft, hey, there's this hole in your software, that means that identity thieves, other governments could also be using this. And I think there's also general discomfort, to put it mildly, with consumers who say, wait a minute, I thought that my product was safe, but here I don't necessarily know whether it's even my government's looking out for my best interests.
Well, again, I think the fundamental issue that's involved here is whether or not we want our intelligence agencies and our law enforcement agencies to be able to protect our country. And I know that there's often this debate about are we going to be able to protect our security and our freedoms at the same time? I believe we can. I don't think we have to make a choice on that.
But now he's made up some question. He's answering something that wasn't even discussed.
You got to love that.
I think we can do this and that because I know a lot of people disagree with me, but I think we can protect our privacy and our security at the same time. It's got nothing to do with the question.
Yeah, he's back on that balance between privacy and security. He's still,
which is not the question. The question is, you promised you were going to do this and you didn't do it.
I know.
You lied. You lied to the American public. You lied to industry. Why?
I know that there's often this debate about are we going to be able to protect our security and our freedoms at the same time? I believe we can. I don't think we have to make a choice on that. The reality is that what the CIA has done in terms of its capabilities and what it is able to do is done pursuant to the law and is done pursuant to oversight by the Congress and by the intelligence committees on the Hill. They are fully aware of what capabilities the CIA has, and that is the way we try to protect our freedoms at the same time.
Let's just talk briefly for a moment about zero-day exploits, because I'm sure a lot of people are listening have no idea what that is.
Well, we're going to explain it.
Go ahead.
No, I was thinking you. A zero-day exploit is a flaw that is discovered in some code, and that if you discover it on day zero. I mean, day zero refers to the day it's discovered.
Right. If
you're the one who discovers it and you want to use it for malicious purposes, that's your opportunity. You have this zero-day exploit. You know where it is. When you start exploiting it for some reason, spam or Trojans, planting things, making botnets, or whatever you're going to do, or listening in on somebody through some screwy mechanism, until somebody else comes along and finds that you've been doing this, you own it.
You own it, right? And here's what Tina asked me: why did the FBI need Apple's cooperation to unlock the San Bernardino shooter's iPhone, but they can access it anyway? And here's the explanation I gave, which I think is correct, is so the guy was gone, was dead, so the phone was locked. That was a different problem. That's getting into it is an issue. When someone's using the phone, it's not that hard to get, to piggyback somehow, get something in there, exploit the zero-day, the code that is exploitable, and then all you need is to be able to see the screen and see what you're tapping on the keyboard. That's how you get around all the encryption stuff. That's all you need.
Yeah.
Keyboard logger. You get your passwords and anything you want. They may be even screencasting.
You get a keylogger in there, which is one of the things Zero Point might do.
Yeah.
Or Zero Day. Yet you open the system up enough for you to push a keylogger into the code and let them then you just get everything they're doing, and every time they type something in, it gets sent to the central servers. Which there was keyboard logger. There was a company in New Zealand that's really kind of made an art out of this. And I don't know how many spooks or agencies, but they did it with the old compact computer. This was some years ago. Mm-hmm. They actually sold a compact, and you could buy these from this company in New Zealand. It was a compact computer keyboard. A complete keyboard, looked just like the original OE. It looks perfect. It was a real
but
keyboard.
It had a keylogger built into the keyboard.
It had a keylogger built in.
Beautiful.
There's nothing you can do about that.
Beautiful.
There's absolutely nothing you can do.
And that thing is broadcasting Bluetooth and all kinds of great stuff. Oh, nice.
Yeah, that was and I'm sure there's other keyboards around like that come with certain computers. But they got the once the keylogger is built into the system like that, there's no antivirus, anti-malware. There's no way unless you can monitor your outflow of your internet connection, which is damn near impossible.
I see. I see a report that you may have a keylogger if your keyboard mysteriously mutes your system.
Yeah,
I'm just saying.
It's always possible.
Yeah.
You never know with these keyloggers. And once you have a keylogger, you can get everyone's password.
Now, of course, none of this is discussed in the corporate media. Not that I've seen. No one has really discussed zero-day exploit. Well, they're asking the question. That's appropriate. He's not answering. I don't think they actually understand the question. Panetta may, but PBS people, I don't think they really understand what they're talking about.
No, nobody knows what they're talking about. And it was just, and I think that Assange named it the 0 day.
Yeah, as a wink, wink.
Try to say, hey, here's a hint. Yeah. You might want to look this term up because there's some kind of things that maybe apply to it.
Yeah. And
it was still, yeah. Oh, that guy, he's ruining it for everybody. Snowden. So CIA Snowden. I mean, the whole thing is the reporting on this is just terrible. And it's going to be more funny as we go along. And he keeps bringing out new stuff. I wish he'd bring it out at a faster clip.
Well, this is clearly coordinated. To me, there's no doubt that Trump's tweet, whether in collusion or he had knowledge of WikiLeaks, whatever, there's some collusion between WikiLeaks and the president. That was no coincidence. You throw something big out there about people wiretapping you. Boom! Immediately you get and here's how they do it.
And now here's what you have to do if you're the mainstream media, because you still got to keep this guy Trump under wraps and maybe get him, fine. Yeah, you just got to attack him. So we have Scott Pelley with Panetta.
Yeah,
same Panetta that was on this other.
Do you have the opening as opening question?
I have. Yeah, I do. Yeah, this is Scott Pelley with Panetta. Very weird. Now, this is the question wasn't as interesting to me as the introduction of Panetta.
Yes,
I have never in my life
heard this.
Watching TV or getting to the point where we're analyzing where this sort of weird introduction to Panetta is used. I've never seen it before.
Especially from the Tiffany Network. The Tiffany News Network, CBS, touted as top notch. I agree.
Now, I'm thinking. I'll kind of preface it for people. What he's going to do is before he brings Panetta on, he's going to give his background to try to give us some qualifications why he's talking about anything. Even though normally they just bring him on and let him talk. We kind of know who he is, but they go on and on and on with all these. He does this, he does that, he does this. He's a great guy, and he was this before he was that, and then he went to college and all this stuff. It looks like something on LinkedIn, and I was thinking, why were they doing this? Is there a code in here? Is there something that something somebody is going to say, so we have to look for some key to something? I have no idea.
At the White House. Well, today we wanted to get some insight into all of this from Leon Panetta. First, let us remind you why Washington listens when he speaks. Panetta was chairman of the House Budget Committee, director of the Office of Management and Budget, White House chief of staff under President Clinton, director of the CIA when Osama bin Laden was killed, secretary of defense under President Obama, and is co-founder of the Panetta Institute for Public Policy. In the last few...
He's a coffee drinker and he loves Merlot. That's all that was missing.
In the last few weeks,
he doesn't kick puppies.
Policy. In the last few weeks, the president has told his military that there are terrorist attacks no one knows about because the press covers them up. He's described the news media as the enemy of the American people. He has likened his own intelligence agencies to Nazis. And now we have the wiretapping charge against President Obama. Is it appropriate to ask whether the president is having difficulty with rationality?
Yeah, I agree. And when I heard that, and this is new. Everyone's now doing the list. And he didn't actually do the appropriate list of all the things that Trump has lied about or is wrong about or is nuts about. But this is the thing. He did this. All these, I think, demonstrably debunkable facts from the universes we straddle, they're just being put out time and again as 100% truth.
Yeah.
Without any question. Because, hey, it's Trump. It can't be right. And then to say, is there a problem with rationality? Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Which is might as well just say, do you think he's unhinged? Which is my favorite
guess who's
word.
Not going to be invited to the next gaggle? I'd say CBS News is on deck.
I would say yes to that. Yeah. Well, I have Panetta's answer if it's not interesting. I just clipped it just in case. because it was the question that was the most interesting part. But Panetta kind of agrees with him, of course.
Panetta, you can't really, because you have to see the video. He starts like his smile. He's trying not to laugh, and it takes him a good two or 3 seconds to start his answer. It does.
Is having
I cut that out.
You cut the pause out. That was the best part.
Nationality.
Scott,
it took. You can hear him like smacking his lips.
The coin of the realm for
the coin of the realm.
Yeah, that was another interesting.
What
little
is that?
The coin of the realm.
I've never heard of this.
It's an old phrase. In fact, I want to do something on today's show. I'll talk about it in a little while about kind of isolating some of these old phrases and making a list, like a definitive, no agenda list.
We started one of these, I think.
Yes, we did, but we never followed up. Now I have a file that I can open and we'll just add to it.
Oh, good.
And but coin of the realm is one of them. We should look it up and read the official definition, but it kind of means what does it mean? It kind of means your what you use to operate. What you use to operate. What do you use to operate? The coin of the realm is what I think that's what it means.
I got, for some reason, coin of the realm. Let's just see what the Book of Knowledge has to say. Coin of the realm, that's Merriam-Webster. Shall we take her?
Yes.
Okay. Come on, Merriam. The legal money of a country, something valued or used as if it were money in a particular sphere. So it's a valuable capital, I guess.
Yeah, I guess something like that.
The coin of the realm. Okay.
Scott, the coin of the realm for any president is trust. Trust of the American people in the credibility of that president. And when he says the things that he says, in particular, this allegation about wiretapping that has no bit of evidence to support it, it raises concerns about trust in the president. Because there are one or two conclusions you draw. One is that he says these things knowing that they're not true.
Oh, I love this.
In order to divert the public.
Yeah. Now, I really love this because this just shows you the hubris and the arrogance, and he gives you a number of choices. Notice the choice that is not there is, he's right. This is what's true because we haven't proven otherwise. But instead, you get these choices.
Says these things knowing that they're not true in order to divert the public. And if he's doing that, he's misusing the powers of the presidency. Or he truly believes...
who?
Which is now being claimed as an impeachable offense.
Yeah, good luck.
Powers of the presidency. Or he truly believes that they are true when indeed they're not true, and he hasn't tried to find out the truth, false. Which then shows a real lack of judgment. Either way, I think it undermines and weakens the strength of the presidency in this country.
And of course, the option is, well, maybe it's true.
No, he leaves that it possibly is true.
Yeah.
Well, if you want to hear the answer to the possibly true, I do have General Hayden, the war criminal.
Yes.
He's on Colbert.
Yeah.
And Hayden is asked by Colbert about the wiretap.
Now, General, let's get straight to the heat of the meat here. On Saturday morning...
The heat of the meat. Is that also an old phrase?
Never heard of it.
The heat of the meat.
The heart of the matter is what he wanted to say.
But he said the heat of the meat?
Yeah, I don't know what he's thinking.
I don't know why, but I'm obsessed about this kind of stuff. I'll look it up.
Now, General, let's get straight to the heat of the meat here. On Saturday morning at 6:35 in the morning, the president tweeted that Barack Obama wiretapped him in Trump Tower.
Right.
Is that possible?
No.
No! Obama phone! Heat of the meat. According to Urban Dictionary, the mass of her ass times the cube of her boob times the angle of your dangle. That is the heat of the meat.
Wow.
So, would you like the further explanation? When you are, it says, I'll read it verbatim. If you're sensitive, don't listen. So when you're railing
this is a lewd term he just dropped on national TV.
He dropped that.
He dropped it, man.
Okay, so heat of the meat. I'll just do the whole thing. The heat of the meat means the mass of her ass times the cube of her boob times the angle of your dangle. So when you're railing a girl and she complains it's too hard, you tell her the mass of your ass and the cube of your boob must be wrong because the angle of my dangle is right on. Oh, I'm sorry I read it to you now.
Like a mediocre poem.
Yeah, but that's what Colbert is talking about, I guess. So
I think someone should write a nasty note to the FCC on this. Can't say stuff like that.
So I'm taking it back to Stingray, and we'll take a break, and we'll come back with that. It's very easy to say not wiretap. It's very easy to say CIA, NSA, FBI didn't wiretap, because this is what local police enforcement uses. They have the Stingray. They can park their van right outside Trump Tower or fly the plane over the city the way they've done in many U.S. cities and just suck up everything into the Stingray. Everything. Yep. And that's how they did it. And I'll tell you how we know that's how they did it, or how they know. Let me see. I have... here we go. This is a former CIA analyst. Of course, he's an RT guy. Larry Johnson.
Johnson, yeah, he's great.
Yeah, here he is talking about what happened. The timeline. This is something that you didn't know on the last show, and I didn't either until I got the timeline. But the timeline is important.
Donald Trump is, in essence, correct that the intelligence agencies and some in the law enforcement community on the side of the FBI were, in fact, illegally trying to access, monitor his communications with his aides and with other people. All of this with an end to trying to destroy and discredit his presidency. I don't think there will be any doubt of that. I think it's worth noting that the head of the National Security Agency, and Admiral Rogers, made a journey to Trump Tower shortly after Trump had won. And in the immediate aftermath of his visit, Jim Clapper and others in the intelligence community called for him to be fired. Now, why did Rogers go to Trump Tower? My understanding is, let's call it was to cover himself, because he was aware that the NSA the authorities had been misused and abused with respect to Donald Trump.
Oh, there you go.
And that makes more sense than anything else we've heard.
Yeah, and everyone's got their own favorite ex-CIA analyst. Well, yeah. This one's on RT, so he's probably been co-opted by Putin, by the Russians.
Oh, yeah, no, probably hookers.
And with that, I'd like to thank you for your courage and say in the morning to you, John C., where the C stands for Chinese are coming, Dvorak.
Well, in the morning to you, Mr. Adam Curry. Also in the morning, all ships at sea, boots on the ground, feet in the air, subs in the water, and all the dames and knights out there.
In the morning to everybody in the chat room. Thanks for being here. NoAgendaStream.com. Very helpful today. It's highly appreciated. In the morning to Cesium 137. Who brought us the artwork for episode 909er, Virtue Signaling. This was the bear trap with the Russian flag in there.
Yeah.
And you touch it and snap, and we close up.
Snap. Gotcha.
Very nice piece of art. Thank you. NoAgendaArtGenerator.com is where you can upload your own work, which we also use for pre-show tweets and for newsletters, all kinds of stuff. And it's highly appreciated. That is why all of our artists always get credit at the beginning of the show. And I do want to say I got my No Agenda shop, noagendashop.com t-shirts in with the cool art.
Yeah, I haven't got those.
I got a red one and the maroon one. These are good tees. They're a little long, which actually I like, because when you wash them, they'll shorten up a little. Because I have a large. It's long. I like that when the t-shirt's a little long when it's new.
You said that.
Yeah, I'm just doubling down on it. Okay.
You said it twice.
Okay. Now I don't know why I was saying that. Oh, because it's the art. It's the artwork that also.
There's dynamite on those shirts.
Yeah, it really is nice.
Well, let's thank a few people for show 910. There's also a pin that's a shot in a bowling game. You have to pick up the 910.
The 910.
Anonymous comes in with $1,000 in Instanite, I believe. Yes. $1,000. Thank you for all you do. Please grant me the title Dame Anonymous Goddess.
You got it.
Happy birthday to my moon. To her moon. Okay, or it could have been, or man, it's a typo. And can I get a jobs karma? Also, can you play the Are You Going to Love You're Going to Love President Trump, the song at the end of the show?
I don't know which song he's talking about.
She.
Which song is that?
I think it's just Trump yelling, "You're going to love President Trump."
Let's see, is this it? No, that's Love Trump's Hate. I don't know what that is.
Maybe play that song and maybe unless you think of what it is. Then it was cut off, so sorry, Dame.
Okay, no, I put that in. And she wanted a jobs karma?
Yes.
No problem.
Jobs, 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 and jobs. Let's vote for jobs. You've got karma.
All righty.
Then we got $456.78. 456.78, a great donation from Hey, or Sir, Hey Idiot. So Sir Hey Idiot has a request. He says he was 456789110. Is it 0, I guess, somewhere in the world at 11 p.m. no less. Please give me ants. I got ants.
All right, briefly then. Hit it, JCD.
I got ants. I got ants.
You've got karma.
Nice.
Okay, that was cute.
And no agenda
David
favorite. A no agenda favorite.
It is. Yeah. David Lane, $333.33 from Springfield, Missouri, came with a check and a note. And has also made his knighthood. My donation this week takes me to knighthood. Please knight me as Sir David of the Show Me State. I've also added a second check in the amount of $19.95. I want to pre-order Mr. Dvorak's Vinegar book. The book will sell out quickly.
Can you get it on Amazon? You know, that people can pre-register and it's coming.
I could probably. I'm telling you what, I'm going to give him an autographed copy with a note. A few items related to the number 33.
Sure.
I traveled to Jefferson City, Missouri last year to take a tour of the old Missouri State Penitentiary that operated from 1836 to 2004. One of the prisoners that became famous was Sonny Liston.
Oh, yeah.
He became a professional boxer and fought against Muhammad Ali. One tour guide mentioned that in his second fight against Ali in 1964, it was thought to be fixed since Mr. Liston was knocked out in the first round. What I found out to be most interesting is that the cell number was cell 33. He's got a picture attached.
Huh.
The final part of the tour consisted of going around to the rear of the prison to see the gas chamber. At the back of the prison, there is a large parking lot where a large number of government vehicles are stored. I noticed that every one of the license plates began with the number 33. Every one of them.
Wow.
He's attached picture.
Huh.
Just for a split second, I actually thought I was being punked by you two. I even looked around to see if you were running towards me with a camera crew to film my reaction, but then I quickly came to my senses, knowing that you two would never go to all that trouble for any slave. Keep up the good work, gents, and please play the woman saying that that she is a rule follower, following by Leo saying he's a rule follower. And thanks, Sir David of the Show Me State, which he gets knighted later.
Okay.
So there you go.
If I could spell rule follower, that would be better. Okay. Rule follower. And what did he want after that?
The two rule followers, and I give him a karma.
A karma. Okay.
I'm a rule follower, so if the rule is that we have to do it, then I'll do it.
I'm a rule follower, right? What do you do? Are you a rule follower?
Jobs, and jobs. Let's vote for jobs. You've got karma.
And a free jobs karma then.
I have to ask our new knight here, or would soon to be new knight. He's got to get me a JPEG file of this Sonny Liston cutout sitting next to the cell number 33. It's got to go in the newsletter because it is very funny.
Yeah.
It's very funny. Okay, onward.
Love it.
Where were we? Okay, here we go. Anonymous Pat from SoCal also sent in a note, $201, and I'll read the note from him. It's a short note. Encloses $201 to support the best podcast in the universe and multiverse. I introduced my parents and sister Samantha Girl to your podcast, and they are now loyal listeners. This is my first donation of many, eventually reaching knighthood, as well as a down payment to the future. and a down payment to the future Kerr Dvorak endowment share for the media deconstruction. Okay, maybe at USC. Onward.
What, no jingles, no nothing?
He said nothing. No, I'm looking. No. Give him a karma just as a you forgot to ask for a jingle.
You've got karma.
Sir Luke, the Baron of London, in London, England, $200. Hi, guys. Sir Luke, the Baron here. I've been a bit of a douche of late, but this being my first donation of 2017, the show keeps going from strength to strength, however. One small thing. As a lifelong Londoner, I can tell you that London does not have no-go areas. If it did, I would be trying to purchase property there wisely.
Okay.
Maybe 20 years ago, there were some dodgy places, but now there is literally nowhere that hasn't been touched by gentrification and foreign investment. I'd like a karma for my first bike ride of the year this Sunday. Keep up the great work.
All right. Thank you. Thank you for that boots on the ground report. It's highly appreciated.
You've got karma.
And I do have some Prime Minister question time for
PMQ.
London.
Yes.
PMQT.
PMQ.
Jeff Gubka in Gilbert, Arizona, 200. First-time donor, computer information systems college student here. Thank you for keeping me sane and teaching me more than most of my classes do.
Yeah. Well, send us your tuition money then.
All I ask for is some interesting internship karma in the form of jobs karma, and a 33 is the magic number jingle.
You got it.
33, that's a magic number.
Jobs, jobs, and jobs. Let's vote for jobs.
You've got karma.
Boom shakalaka.
And those are our executive and associate executive producers for show 910. And I want to thank them all. Remember, we do have another show coming up in just a very few days. The Sunday show, 9/11.
And we're starting
9/11. Oh, which reminds me, I've got to get these guys. As 9/11, they were going to do a little promotion because 9/11 is coming up. And show 9/11. I send me an email.
And a reminder that the United States will be on daylight savings time.
Oh, yeah.
So we go back an hour. Europe will not change yet. That is because the elites like to mess with us, as you know. No other reason.
Yeah, so we're doing the show at 6 in the morning.
Something like that.
Anyway, yes, you 9/11 guys, send me a quick note today with the subject line 9/11.
I have a couple of PR mentions.
I've been remiss.
Couple of PR mentions today. Stephen Woolard has organized this Victoria, BC meetup, March 11th. That is, so what is that? Saturday? Yeah.
It is a Saturday.
March 11th at the Moon Underwater Brew Pub. And there is an email address.
And this is in Vancouver or Victoria?
Victoria, BC.
Okay.
And
Victoria's got some nice brew pubs.
Well, this should be one of the better ones. And I'll put this under the PR heading in the show notes at 910.noagendanotes.com. Second, very happy to say that Chris McClimate is back. You don't remember that name. He is the guy behind the No Agenda search. And he apologized profusely. Life got in the way. You know how it happens. And search.na show notes is back up and rolling. And it's better than ever. It's current. It's fast. It's rocking and rolling.
Nice.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And I appreciate everyone who did look at the GitHub code and maybe started something. But I'm happy. We don't pressure people. Hey, you go overboard on either the show or whatever you do, and it's okay. There's no hard feelings. Never worry about us. We're used to it. These initiatives come and go, but I'm happy that he's keeping it running. And I also said, hey, if you wanted to move it on.
Well, we have a couple of guys that they're kind of in the background that just kind of, the guy who keeps up our, I should put his name on the wall so I could thank him, who keeps up our feeds on the Roku box.
Oh, yes, I can. Yes. We have guys running torrent feeds.
We have some torrent guys. We have a bunch of these guys that we should write their name on the wall and thank them every so often, and we don't do that. And it's our.
I will make this a point. I will start collecting the names.
We have to start doing this because it's important.
Yeah. So Chris,
but that search guy is a good example. It bails out for a month, and the next thing you know, it doesn't work at all. And it's important. They had the same thing with the Roku guy,
and it's nice
They're all important people.
Yeah, and the search, of course, is nicely integrated into noagendaplayer.com. So you can find something and then click, and it'll take you to the No Agenda player and play the piece. Yes. And it's really dynamite.
It's actually a commercial product.
It's fantastic. Yeah, it truly is.
Yeah, we should talk about that.
One other mention is John of Jupiter. This is the guy who brought us snopesforsnopes.com as the website you want to go to. And he has a new one that forwards to the No Agenda show, hitlersplaybook.com. Amazing that was available.
Hitler's play. Yeah, it is amazing. There's a lot of stuff. People are lax now because there's all these. Nobody cares.
Let me see if it works.
Because .com is not as important as it once was.
Hitler's play. Yeah, there it goes. Forwarding right to noagendashow.com. Hitler's playbook.
Hitler's playbook.
Yeah, that's real good for us. I'm sure the SEO will be dynamite.
Yeah.
Anyway, we really appreciate.
I heard about you guys on Stormfront.
Appreciate the help that we got from our executive producers, associate executive producers today for episode 910. As John said, we have another show coming up on Sunday, getting up an hour earlier, but please consider us at
Dvorak.org/NA.
And you can go ahead and use the No Agenda search to, propagate the formula.
Our formula is this. We go out, we hit people in the mouth.
Fact check false.
Shut up, slave.
Shut up, slave.
Shut up, slave.
So can we take a little moment and do this little thing with our list of sayings that would be cool to bring back? What was the one that we just talked about? I already forgot it.
The coin of the realm.
Coin of the realm. Right. Okay. I'm going to put it on the list.
Are you keeping the list or am I keeping the list?
I am going to keep the list as a file on this podcasting computer, not my other one.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be called oldusages.txt. And when we talk about this, I'm going to bring this file up because it's going to be right on the desktop, and we're going to just add to it. And then we'll distribute it when it gets big enough. But what else did we have that was... I got a couple of cripes, of course, is one of the ones I've always liked to use.
Yes. Cripes, crikey.
And I've got a couple of the ones that I picked up that got me into this idea that I picked up over the weekend.
Okay.
And I just casually said it. I was talking to Mimi, and I said, there's a word that our parents used to use, fuss budget.
I'm not familiar with this one. Fuss budget.
It's like a person that's, a fuss budget. It's self-explanatory. It's a fuss budget. Well, these pens aren't straight. Another one, because JC and Jesse were living here they finally moved back to the little house, but they were living here for a week or two while they were working on the other house. And he always gets up in the morning, and the only way to describe what he's wearing is the top is skivvies.
Oh, skivvies. Yeah. So yes, he was just dressed in his skivvies.
Yeah, he had his skivvies on.
Yeah.
Which is kind of like a raggedy T-shirt, the way I always saw it.
Hoodwinked, bamboozled, any of these?
Hoodwinked. Let me put it on.
Bamboozled, dumbfounded.
Bamboozled, dumbfounded. That's good.
Mm-hmm.
What else?
Tina keeps using this. We came up with jabroni.
Yeah, jabroni.
But she uses jamoke.
Jamoke.
I've never heard of jamoke. I never heard of jamoke.
Yeah, jabroni and jamoke. Jamoke is East Coast.
Well, she's not East Coast, but jamoke.
Well, that's where it comes from. You hear jamoke a lot.
I love jamoke.
I also have something
gypped,
my mom...
Gypped? We still use gypped.
Gypped, yeah, which is
racist. You're not allowed to use it because you're saying you're making reference to gypsies.
The crooked gypsies.
Yes.
So my mom used to always say this, and I didn't realize what it really meant until I saw a photo. And as a kid, she'd say, "Your room looks like the wreck of the Hesperus."
Nice. the wreck of the Hesperus?
Yeah, that's just. And so I saw a picture online some years later, which was a photo of the wreck of the Hesperus, and now I know what she meant. It is the biggest mess I think that's ever been created by a ship sinking or blowing up or whatever the hell happened.
Oh, I didn't know this.
Outrageous.
What was
like
this ship?
Such a mess. And I guess it became a phrase in the 30s or 40s whenever the ship blew up.
Nice.
Anyway, that's about all I got right now.
Well, it's a good start.
So if anyone has any of these, they want to just email us, put in the subject line, put words, and we will
just put 9/11 in the subject line. Don't worry about it. It'll be fine.
Put 9/11 on for the other thing, but words would be good. And
I like it. That's a good idea.
Okay, so,
all right,
I think it is a great idea because I've seen these lists online. They always blow,
and you always have to hit next to get a whole new page of advertising.
Yeah, next.
Disgusting. Hey, John, hop in the machine, man.
Are you ready?
Here we go. Get into the alternate universe straddle machine.
From this day forward, it's going
Here we go.
America first. America first. America first.
We choose love. Fuck you.
Yikes.
Welcome to the straddle of the universes.
Got a headache from that one.
And that dog is always there, too.
Where's this dog come from?
The dog. Okay, so I have a number of clips from the alternate universes, and I want to share them with you. And this is probably, I need to play this one first because this is the attitude that I'm seeing on the face bags. The attitude in general from people who did not vote for President Trump. Maybe not. The people who voted for Hillary Clinton are sad that it didn't work out. This is, of course, a Hollywood person, actress Jane Kaczmarek, best known for her role as the mom in Malcolm in the Middle. And she's on the Tavis Smiley show. Just listen to what she's saying and how she is breaking her own boundaries of reasonable conduct.
I refer to my family in Milwaukee as my favorite basket of deplorables. And, I think the gloves really have come off in this and that, the thought of not hurting someone's feelings or not. Yeah. I find this president has so hurt the feelings of every human being in this country and the civil rights that he is trampling on. So I'm not too worried about hurting the feelings of him or the people who support him. Yeah. And I know we're not supposed to do that. And at school, they're telling all the children, you have to find common ground. Sorry. There's no common ground.
Yeah, fuck it, kids. Go ahead. There's no common ground. Just do whatever you want.
And you just realize,
fight. Resist.
And you just realize, I turned 60. I'm 61 now, but I kind of thought the rest of my days after President Obama was going to be, we are now going to be living that country.
We turned the corner. We turned the corner.
Turned the corner.
Yeah.
And I never thought my next 20, 30 years would be hopefully getting back to, not hopefully, we will get back to where we're supposed to be as human beings and as moral characters in this country and in this world.
Well, why don't you start with yourself? Trying to be a moral character.
What civil rights is he trampling?
Well, not only is he trampling on civil rights, he's hurting everyone's feelings.
Oh, okay.
Everybody's feelings, John. Completely hurt everybody's feelings. Now,
this got her family of deplorables back in Wisconsin.
Yeah. Now, this is very interesting. This is on CNN. John King, I think it is, and he's apparently now has a roundtable show as well.
Everybody does on CNN.
So CNN has taken a stand about publishing photos of the recent executive order signed by the president because it was a press pool photo. Listen up.
This is a signature issue of this president. Okay. He would very much like to be front and center in revising it and in improving that. I'm sticking with this. I'm going to be resilient. He criticized the judges publicly. But the fact that we won't show you the picture of the president signing an executive order that's incredibly important to his administration and a very important policy debate in our country, we will not show you the picture because we have a policy that you cannot have canned press release pictures from a White House. If you have to let the reporters in. The president's a big boy. He doesn't have to answer questions if they're shouted at him, but they wouldn't let anyone in because of the other issue.
Bullshit. Please. You published nothing but pictures that were done by Obama's personal photographer. All the time. There was a little complaining about it, but you gave up and you totally published those pictures. I found that to be unbelievable. Lies.
Yeah, that's
lies.
This is a very that's low. Yeah, very low.
Very low. Okay. In the alternate universe, saying horrible things about women is bad if you're Trump, but if you're a Democrat, it's okay, especially if you're a black Democrat. Nancy Pelosi commenting on very sexist comments from one of her colleagues towards Kellyanne Conway.
I need to ask you about this crude joke that was told this week by a member of your caucus, Democratic Congressman Cedric Richmond, at the Washington Press Club Foundation annual dinner at the expense of White House counselor Kellyanne Conway. Take a listen.
And you can just explain to me that circumstance, because you really looked kind of familiar in that position there.
So what he's saying, and this is Kellyanne Conway, who was on her knees on the couch. The joke is a blowjob joke. We get it.
Oh, play it again.
Yeah, she looked pretty familiar in that position. I guess maybe she's blown him. I don't know.
That circumstance, because she really looked kind of familiar in that position there.
So it's a blowjob joke.
It's a blowjob joke.
It's a funny blowjob joke. It's not.
If a Republican would have used that joke, yes.
Were you going to say OMG?
No, I was going to say yes.
Oh, okay. Well, the conversation that ensued between Tapper and Pelosi is straight out of the alternate universe.
Leader Pelosi, the joke was sexist. It was disgusting.
Disgusting? It was blowjob joke, Tapper. Easy.
It was sexist. It was disgusting. Shouldn't the congressman apologize to Kellyanne Conway? And honestly, where is the Democratic Party in expressing outrage about this?
I wasn't at the dinner. I'm just finding out about this. But the fact is,
I wasn't there. I didn't just hear the joke. But let me say something about Trump.
I wasn't at the dinner. I'm just finding out about this. But the fact is, I'm still in a sort of a state of what is going on here, that the person who occupies the White House is the person who was on that Hollywood video that said the crude things he said about women.
So this is her response. Some guy made a blowjob joke about a woman who was famous and in the Trump administration. Yeah, I don't know about that, but my God, did you hear him say, grab her by the pussy?
You all are criticizing Cedric for something he said in the course of the evening, and he maybe should be criticized for that. I just don't know the particulars. But I do every day marvel at the fact that somebody who said the gross and crude things that President Trump said, he wouldn't even be allowed in a frat house, and he's in the White House.
Oh, man, does she not understand the irony of this? This is crazy. Oh, you're being critical of this guy. And maybe he's made an off-color joke. But Trump is horrible. Oh, man.
Well, I think we've covered the Access Hollywood tape quite a bit. But I guess the question is, if one criticizes only Republicans when they make crude comments, does that not undermine the moral authority if they don't criticize when Democrats make crude comments?
Well, I think everybody was making crude comments. And I just don't know. I wasn't at that dinner.
Okay. Thanks. Douchebag.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, she wasn't there. She just heard the material.
She just heard it, yeah.
Do you have to be there? Oh, I see. Oh, he had his fingers crossed. Oh, I get it now. Yeah. Oh, it was a different joke. It was about something else.
In the alternative universes, strange things happen. They happen to people, and they need to tweet about them, particularly celebrities.
Barbra Streisand says Donald Trump is making her gain weight. Yes, the singer tweeted Saturday that news involving the president now affects her morning routine. Donald Trump is making me gain weight. I start the day with liquids, but after the morning news, I eat pancakes smothered in maple syrup. Her tweet came after news broke over the weekend that Trump claimed the Obama administration wiretapped into his Trump Tower phones during the 2016 presidential election. Trump just accused Obama of tapping his phones. Seriously, crazy times, added Streisand. Time for more pancakes.
Yes, the alternative.
And this is news, by the way. This is something they want to report on.
Yeah, of course. Well, it's Babs.
Well, this is reminding me before you get into that out of the universe, because I don't want to leave you.
Please don't leave. No, it hurts to go back and forth.
It's this. This is CNN online. It took they made a FOIA request to the Park Service to release photos of Obama and the Trump inauguration crowd sizes.
Yeah.
It's like, this is something Trump said, out of the blue. I had bigger crowds than him. It wasn't true. By the way, I want to mention that Rush Limbaugh actually had a long spiel about Trump and how people don't understand his style, and they keep wanting to make him be like everybody else, and he's not. He's not going to do that.
Right.
So he'll say stuff.
Yeah.
And so these CNN guys are so preoccupied, they're obsessed with the stupid thing he said. And so they're getting a FOIA request. The images show the crowd sizes of Barack 2009 and 2013. And it goes on and on, this long article. I mean, I'm sure Trump's forgotten about this by now 10 times over.
Well, then maybe he does these things to spin their wheels as he's being accused of.
He definitely gets that accomplished. That's an accomplishment. Yeah. You have to, yes. He's get all what? He said what? Oh, my God.
In the alternate universe, technology fails for the strangest reasons. Well, not really strange reasons. You cannot cross the two universes. You can't.
Shorts out?
It shorts out. This is what happened on CNN.
Do you think, as a member of the Homeland Security Committee, it is necessary for the security of this country to put this ban in place?
Well, I'm on the Appropriations Committee, but we oversee DHS, the funding of that.
Thank you for clarifying that.
I think that I didn't want to throw any of those, take credit for that. But anyways, I do think that it's important for our security, and I think the people overwhelmingly in the country want that as well too. Because again, just today the FBI comes out and says that 30% of their domestic terrorism cases that they're investigating are from folks who are refugees. It's important not to label all refugees bad people. That's not why I'm here. But
I was just going to say, Congressman, it's time to go, but I think the TV gremlins did that for us.
Oh, the TV gremlins. The guy saying something she didn't like. Didn't fit in the universe.
No, you got to get kicked out.
Immediately went to color bars. Boom, right away. It's amazing how these things just don't work that way. Now, where? How come? I don't know. Why have we not noticed Maxine Waters as a tremendous source of humor?
I wonder that myself. I did have a Maxine Waters clip.
I have a couple right here.
The problem that I'm having is getting into the groove where I can isolate what's really funny as opposed to her just rambling.
You got to make them short. Let's see.
Yeah, I know. That's why I don't have any clips of her, because I'm having trouble.
Let's see if I was successful.
Okay.
Now this clip is very short. Just listen to what she says.
And I think that the Obama administration has done everything that it can possibly do, and that's probably been verified somewhat by the New York Times, to make sure that enough people have seen some of the meetings and some of the connections so that they have something to go on when the investigations are really underway.
So if I understand what she just said, she is saying, I think the Obama administration did a great job at spreading intelligence reports to make sure that this news got out about the wiretapped info. Do you hear what she's saying there?
Yeah, again, it's like she's rambles into these crazy things. I like the clip. I'm not going to say that's dumb. But again, this is her. That's why I don't think she's the gold mine we hoped for.
Well, hold on. There is some funny stuff. Hold on. Let's see what this is.
Right.
I think I have.
I still think Sheila Jackson down in Texas is funnier.
Here we go.
And the wall that he was going to build, the big, beautiful wall, now he's coming to the taxpayers and saying, well, I need you to pay for it, even though he had said during the campaign, I'm going to make them pay for it. And now I'm going to make them reimburse me. Yeah. So the man is not trustworthy. He makes promises. As a matter of fact, I wonder sometime if he's not taking his cues from Putin. Because he thinks that he can do.
I just like how she said that. I don't know. He's not taking his cues from Putin.
Taking his cues from Putin. Is Putin building a wall? What's the connection there? I have that one. That one's baffling.
She'll explain.
And by the way, what about Obama and closing Gitmo? I take that to the bank.
Not trustworthy. He makes promises. As a matter of fact, I wonder sometime if he's not taking his cues from Putin. Because he thinks that he can do what Putin does in terms of just tell people what to do, direct the whole Congress what to do. And so I'm not surprised about these comments. I'm surprised that anybody believed him when he read from his script when he came to the Congress.
Unlike President Obama, who never read from a script ever.
Him when he read from his script when he came to the Congress, instead of other journalists saying, "Oh, he really did transform himself. He was so presidential. I think he's on his way." I never believed that.
Yeah, take that, Van Jones. Now you got Maxine Waters against you.
Putin.
Sorry, it's the Tourette's. Then the final one from the alternate universe, the little more serious one, is Bakari.
Well, I have a couple from before we go back. I will
not start the machine. I will not start the machine. Bakari Sellers. So I guess he was he a House representative in North Carolina, I think. And this is a perfect example of certainly.
He's named after the rum.
No, I think he's named after Peter.
Go on.
No, it's not. It's not Bacardi. It's Bakari Sellers. Oh man.
Oh, okay.
Here's how truth works in the alternate universe.
Well, I think that one of the things that this administration does not have is any trust in or credibility. When you look at the fact that not only has the president, the vice president, Sean Spicer, the chief of staff, Kellyanne Conway, have all gone out of their way and said that there have been no contacts with Russia. We found out that Michael Flynn and Jeff Sessions lied about that. We found out that Jared Kushner and J.D. Gordon and Carter Page have all had these contacts. But to come back to what the president said in regards to this outlandish comment about the 44th president of the United States, Barack Obama. This isn't the first time he's made outlandish comments. I mean, he said that 3 million people illegally voted. He said that the unemployment rate of African Americans was 50% plus. He also said that we had 96% unemployment throughout the 96 million Americans who were unemployed.
No.
I mean, this president makes these statements all the time, and these statements are
just to stop for a second, because I don't want you to have to go back and look for this. Because he's getting all worked up about accuracy. He said Kellyanne Conway was the chief of staff.
Yeah, talk about accuracy.
Yeah, just to mention that, if you're going to start being picky about these little, he said to 95, it's only 94.
Well, no, the thing that he's wrong about, Trump never said 95 million people unemployed.
It's saying this is the kind of thing
let me just answer it. It's not 95 million people unemployed. It's 95 million people not participating in the workforce. Very different. Yeah. Very different, Bacardi. We're just going to call him Bacardi from now on.
He makes these statements all the time, and these statements are just flatly lies. And so now we have to go back and prove a lie to be a lie, which is a little bit illogical, but the media has to do its job and do that. This is
how is proving a lie to be a lie
difficult?
No. Let me back it up and say it again. How is proving a lie to be a lie illogical?
Listen to him.
Statements are just flatly lies. And so now we have to go back and prove a lie to be a lie, which is a little bit illogical.
I don't understand what he's saying. We have to go back and prove a lie was a lie, which is kind of illogical. I don't understand. What is he?
How's that illogical?
I don't know.
This is the kind of thing I've been hearing a lot of, by the way. I have examples of it. Is these guys say the weirdest stuff. In fact, I have a clip from the alternate universe from CBS after you're done with this, which has another statement at the end, which is like, what are you talking about?
No, I can't wait. All right, let's finish Bacardi.
But the media has to do its job and do that. This is not something that is going to take us away from our eye being on that ball, which is the fact that apparently there are issues with Donald Trump, his campaign, his presidency, and the Russian government. There's a new New York Times story out right now where Director Comey is asking the Department of Justice to stand up in an unprecedented fashion and shoot this down.
And we have not confirmed that, just to put that out there, but go ahead.
Oh, well, thank you.
And that's fine. I mean,
no, listen to his answer. Listen to his answer. Very rare that she says that. His answer is phenomenal.
Unprecedented fashion and shoot this down.
And we have not confirmed that, just to put that out there, but go ahead.
And that's fine. I mean, the point being is that this president lies.
And that's fine. That's the point. Who gives a crap? President lies.
And that's fine. I mean, the point being is that this president lies, and he lies often.
No, he makes mistakes. Maybe he lies, but he makes mistakes like you just made 4 mistakes in that one bit. Shut up, Bacardi. Douchebag. I'm tired of these knuckleheads because I have to watch those a-holes all the time.
All right, so here is
I do have another one for later when you're ready.
Okay, we'll play it first, and I want to finish with this. I want to it's because the longer we stay in this alternate universe.
I know you get lightheaded. I understand.
Yeah. You got another one. Hit it.
Yeah, this is it takes about 45 seconds to get to the meat of what Mika and Joe are saying from the Morning Joes. But when you hear what it's ultimately about, This is really an incredible statement.
President Trump's Saturday morning routine often involves spinning out of control and sending out tweets that then ricochet around the world. There was the Saturday before.
Tweets are ricocheting, John. Ricocheting around the world. I like that. That's well written, that line. We have to use that. I wrote a tweet that ricocheted around the world.
And sending out tweets that then ricochet around the world. There was the Saturday before he was sworn in when he tweeted that Congressman John Lewis was all talk and no action or results. John Lewis. On Saturday, January 28th, he attacked the New York Times and the Washington Post, calling them dishonest in all caps. It was Saturday, February 4th, when he called the federal judge who halted his travel ban a, quote, so-called judge. And he attacked the media on Saturday, February 11th over his daughter Ivanka's clothing business.
Well, actually, wasn't it also a Saturday or was it a Friday where he called the media the enemies of the people? I think that may have been a late Friday, but it is always going into the weekends. And as I said before, especially...
Hey, John, stop it. I want you to hear this. Let's pay attention. Stop playing with your pen. Yes.
I think that may have been a late Friday, but it is always going into the weekends. And as I said before, especially when Jared Kushner and his daughter Ivanka are away for the Sabbath, this all begins.
The implication being he's after the Jews. Because of the Sabbath.
I don't know if that's true.
That's exactly what he's saying.
No, I don't know if that's the implication.
The hell yes, he's saying about the Sabbath.
Yeah, he says the Sabbath, but he's not tweeting about the Jews.
No, Joe. Well, okay, Joe is saying mainstream media. He's saying all these Jew groups, and then he says, funny how he always tweets it when the Jews can't do anything because they have the Sabbath. That's how I read it. That's how I heard it.
I know what you're looking at there, but I don't see any evidence when every time he does these tweets, they make a big fuss out of it.
No, it's not true, but that's what Joe is saying. That's my point.
Yeah, Joe's full of shit.
Joe, you're full of shit. This is saying goodbye.
I just found that
I would have never made that connection in a million years.
That's what
he's tweeting on the Sabbath. The way I see it, he's Friday night. He has. Goes out and stays up too late, and then he gets up in the morning and looks at the newspapers and makes some tweets because he doesn't work as hard on Saturday, perhaps.
Maybe.
Or he likes to do it on Saturday. It's got nothing to do with the Jews.
Okay,
he brings this stuff up, Jews.
He's talking at the end there. He's talking about, well, when they all go into the Sabbath. Okay, fine.
Yeah, that's what he said. I know what he said. He's an idiot.
Well, there's that. You want to get out of this place? Because it's...
Well, let me get my things out of the way first. I got two clips while we're here. Here's one that's a gem. This guy, the mayor of Los Angeles, just got reelected as a Los Angeles mayor, Garcetti.
Yeah.
Yeah, listen to the numbers involved in his victory.
Los Angeles, in the city of Los Angeles, Mayor Eric Garcetti has won a second term, easily beating 10 rivals in Tuesday's election. Just 250,000 voters turned out in the nation's second largest city. Garcetti, a Democrat, claimed 81% of the vote and said it's a victory for an all-inclusive ideal.
Everybody, regardless of their religion, regardless of their race or ethnicity, regardless of their legal status, regardless of whom they love, regardless of where they come from, is a part of this Los Angeles dream and always will be as long as I am your mayor.
Now, how many people live in Los Angeles?
4 million.
And it's all, it's mainly liberals, Democrats, who really believe in voting and...
Yeah, and they like to point out when you get X number of votes is a big deal. Yeah, 4 million people, 250,000 voted.
Wow.
But it's a big deal. Got 80%.
Unbelievable.
That means you got about 200,000 votes to become mayor, leaving 3.8 plus million people. It's unbelievable to
John,
me.
I could get you to be, there's no numbers. We can get you to be mayor of Los Angeles.
The mail order campaign could do better than this.
We can make you mayor of Los Angeles in a heartbeat. That's easy.
I could go for it. I get the sense that nobody wants to be mayor. Now, here's the one that's got the twisting, screwy makes no sense. This is a complete other dimension on CBS with Scott Pelley about this model. I guess she's an ex-Miss Universe or something. His name is Hunter, and she's a New York photographer. And there's a woman, probably with the same name, it's not an uncommon name, who lives and admits to being living in Tennessee with her dogs and cats in Tennessee. Yeah. And they're accusing her of, because I don't know if you ever noticed this, but if you go on Twitter, you'll see a lot of people that have pictures that aren't their pictures. Have you ever noticed this?
You mean their profile picture?
Yeah, the profile picture will be some model.
No, you don't say.
Yes, I've seen it. And so they have all these phony profile pictures. So this woman used this Hunter woman's picture because maybe they have the same name or who knows what. But it's got this poor photographer in New York all upset. And CBS is beside itself that anything like this could possibly happen.
Which story is it, though, John? I can't figure it out. And
this is fake online persona.
That's why I couldn't figure it out. Here we go.
Our continuing effort to separate fact from fiction.
Okay, stop right there. Now, what he's...
Fact check false.
What he says there is that, because if the rest of the show is all these, Trump said this, he's wrong. Trump said that, he's wrong. Trump lied. Trump said that. So now the theme at CBS is to separate fact
from fiction.
Because this is their job now. So they're separating fact from fiction. And so this is their example.
Our continuing effort to separate fact from fiction, we turn to the story of a woman who had her identity hijacked. She was turned into a fake blogger, and that caused very real trouble.
Stop again. I want you to define for me what's a fake
blogger. A fake blogger would be somebody... let me see. A blogger is someone who writes a weblog. A fake blogger would be someone who says they're writing a weblog but doesn't.
That's what I'm saying.
I don't know.
This is crazy.
This universe hurts. Let's get through the clip. I'm getting nauseous.
Blogger, and that caused very real trouble.
Oh. Wait. He's saying that as if a fake blogger
is causing trouble.
Yeah, but this is real trouble. Not just trouble.
Yeah, I don't know what real trouble is, and he never defines it. It's just that somebody misidentified her.
A fake blogger, and that caused very real trouble. Here's Carter Evans.
That is the most recent one. That's the Miss World crown.
Meet Laura Hunter, photographer, beauty queen, and as for politics,
I would lean a bit more to the liberal side.
So it might seem Laura Hunter was living a secret double life. Far-right blogger, anti-Muslim, anti-immigrant, and very pro-Trump.
This looks like you.
That's a picture of me. That's my name.
Are these your beliefs?
No. It's bigoted. It's racist. I'm not.
Racist?
I'm not those things.
You wouldn't write anything like that?
No, never.
But fake Laura Hunter has, since August, attracted nearly 1 million followers on Facebook through a site called The Conservative Daily Post.
I started Googling my name. And wow.
Fake Laura even had a made-up bio, living with her dog in eastern Tennessee. But real Laura is a professional photographer in Seattle.
Stop. How is that it's a fake bio if she's trying to impersonate this other Laura?
Yeah, maybe her own bio just has a...
It may be her actual bio. Did they check? Let me just ask you, do you think they checked?
Fact check false.
Tried to maybe track the woman down? Maybe they tried. They say we called. We didn't know what we didn't do much.
They should have at least say that. Should have at least say we could not reach the person for comment.
Well, they do say that, but they don't say it in the right context, and you'll see what I mean.
Laura is a professional photographer in Seattle. She's filed a $50,000 lawsuit against those behind the site whose business address is a post office box.
Have you heard anything from them?
No. Nothing at all.
Neither did we after we reached out. But since the filing, Laura's picture has become an avatar. And something bizarre happened. Fake Laura's fans got angry at real Laura.
They think I'm the fake.
They think you're impersonating someone else?
Yes. They just go ballistic, and how dare you, and Laura Hunter's a wonderful woman, and you're just trying to ride her coattails.
Fake news sites can generate thousands of dollars in ad revenue, but operate in the shadows. Laura isn't sure she'll receive damages. She just wants to restore her damaged reputation.
Hold on. Fake news site, were they posting fake? Now all of a sudden it's a fake news site. I thought it was a
blog.
It was a fake blogger. Now it's a fake
blogger, fake blog. Now it's a fake news site making millions. Sure,
she'll receive damages. She just wants to restore her damaged reputation.
It's very simple. If you can't confirm something, don't post it.
Carter Evans, CBS News, Seattle.
Hey. Stop.
Fake news.
Hey.
Okay, stop.
What? No, stop.
Did you hear what she said at the end?
Yeah.
What has it got to do with the story? What's it got to do with her situation? What's it got to do with her $50,000?
Nothing.
What's it got to do with another woman with the same name? And I'm sure there's thousands of Laura Hunters.
There's a lot of Adam Currys, too.
There's thousands of Adam Currys.
And they're black.
A lot of them?
Most of them.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Now, play the little end again and tell me what this has to do with anything and why did they play it?
Well, hold on a second. Let me just get to it. I'm sorry. I'd already dumped the clip out.
I know. This is what the reason that I wanted this clip played is because of this, what she says at the end, which is something that makes zero sense.
Okay.
And I'm hearing a lot of this sort of thing. I mentioned it earlier.
I have an idea. I have an idea about this. I'm going to take you to the end, and we'll listen to it one more time. Here we go. That's not a problem. We can do this.
Wants to restore her damaged reputation.
It's very simple. If you can't confirm something, don't post it.
Carter Evans, CBS News, Seattle.
If you can't confirm something, don't post it.
This is her solution to her problem. If you can't confirm something, don't post it. What does it have to do with the fake blogger?
No. I think what I'm seeing is a push. I don't think I have any of the clips. I did see a number of people talking about anonymity online. That's coming back up again. That we need to do away with anonymity online.
Okay, but this wasn't an anonymous account for all we know because no one checked it out. There's a Laura Hunter in Tennessee. She never said she was the photographer in New York. She said she was in Tennessee.
No, it's a complete non-story.
It's a complete non-story, and then it has this crazy ending. This is totally different universe stuff.
I'm not sure exactly how to parse it, though. Part of it is...
Well, I know how to parse it.
Okay.
It's the little innuendos. We're tracking fake stuff. We're tracking truth from lies.
Yes.
We got this. This is all. And by the way, this is all because of Trump.
Yeah.
This is an anti-Trump piece, and it starts off with the fake Laura, the real Laura, whatever she is, down in Tennessee, who likes Trump. Thus, she's a racist.
Yes, racist. Racist.
And so you got the woman. It's not like me. I'm a liberal. And she got the stuff posted, and they say, "Oh no, this is all racist because she likes Trump."
Right.
This is an anti-Trump piece, gratuitous anti-Trump piece that wasn't, like you said, this wasn't even a news story. This was bullshit. Who cares? Here's what happens. I've seen this. You see it if you go on these online sites. Your name is Laura Hunter. You find out that there's a Laura Hunter who's an outrageous beauty queen. So you use her picture.
Yeah.
I mean, this isn't unusual. It's like if you go to a chat room, can I see your picture? They send you some random picture. Oh, it's a scandal. It's not a scandal. This is the way online works. Yeah. And so you have this woman. She never said she was the photographer in New York. She clearly said she was in Tennessee. So this is bull crap of the highest order. They should be ashamed of themselves at CBS.
Yeah, they're not. They're really not. Pelly should be ashamed of himself.
Yeah.
Well, okay.
All right, I'm done.
Yeah.
Let's get out of here.
All right. Buckle in.
Alternative universe on the web.
I find it helps if you just look at the floor, then the spinning isn't that bad. Here we go.
But all figured out. They show you the vans.
Why didn't it go? Why didn't it go? What happened?
Oh, you're playing Brian Williams.
This is bad.
Oh no.
We're stuck here.
Okay, well, I got another clip while we're stuck.
Oh, okay.
This is an odd clip. This is, again, on CBS. This is an overview on Trump that they play. And by the way, they're obsessed. This is getting out of control on CBS. It's hard to watch.
The White House said today it does not believe the president is under investigation by the FBI. The question came up because of President Trump's insistence that his phones were tapped during the campaign on the order of President Obama. Mr. Trump has not taken a question from reporters in the 5 days since he called the wiretapping claim a fact and called Mr. Obama a bad or sick guy. The FBI has been investigating contacts between the Trump campaign and Russian operatives. U.S. intelligence has concluded that Russia did meddle in the presidential election.
We should call them ambassadors, what they really are, if you say operatives.
No, operatives. Everybody's an operative.
Let's get out of here, Joe. Let's get out of here. Let's get out of here.
I got it. Fine.
Let's get out. I can't handle it.
Push the button.
From this day forward, it's going to be only America first. Roll! America first. Roll! America first. Roll! America first.
Choose love. Fuck you.
Oh, man. I got soot on me. I do have a number of clips about the wiretapping.
Oh, you do now?
I do. And I would like to share them with everybody. Because and I could have easily put this in alternate universe, but not necessary. Because they belong firmly in ours, in all of them, really. We just straddle. This is CNN, Amy Kremer, who is the co-chair of Women for Trump, a Trump supporter, in conversation and explaining, and I guess maybe I should backtrack a little bit. It is very difficult for me to believe that, I'll just take New York Times, there were other outfits, that New York Times has a front page story about how Trump's people were wiretapped, or there was eavesdropping, listening, tapping going on. That's how they got.
Talking about the story that appeared in the January 2000, the January issue of the New York Times, right on the front page, where it said that Trump was tapped.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's how they found out about Michael Flynn, although we still have not seen the transcripts that would make him culpable to some crime. That has been promised. People say they've seen it, and we're waiting for the we have no transcripts.
Waiting.
But that was in the New York Times. And then when Trump says, hey, they wiretapped me, no. But wait a minute, the New York Times said they were. Well, and this is kind of this clash here.
On the president's allegation against President Obama that he ordered a wiretap against Trump leading up to the election. At this point, the only people, if you're really looking at this, the only people backing up the president wholeheartedly are his White House staff. And even they, if you listen to their statements, are offering up, they couch every statement with ifs and maybes and could be and it's possible. Does that trouble you that no one else has seen the evidence yet?
No, it doesn't trouble me, Kate. I mean, I don't think the president would have made that allegation if he didn't have some information indicating that. I think back to the IRS targeting Tea Party and conservatives. And when the president said there's not a smidgen of corruption going on there, and look what happened. And to this day, no one's been held accountable. I think we need to wait and hear what they put forward, the evidence. I'm sure we will find out. There were 2 FISA warrants that they went to court in June and then again in October, according to several publications. And in June, it was to investigate 4.
It's too bad you can't see the video. So while she's saying this, I think actually Bacardi Sellers is in one of the boxes on the screen. And this woman, whatever her name is, I forget her name, she is shaking her head like, you're just telling lies here, lady. You're just telling.
The CNN woman shaking her head?
Yeah, shaking her head, making faces.
But in June, it was to investigate 4 Trump staffers, and they were told to narrow their focus.
Directly relating to you have the reporting about these FISA applications?
This is according to The Guardian, and New York Times reported this as well. And so they went back in October, and they were granted the permission to do it. So I don't think the president would have made these.
That has to do with looking into questionable banking transactions between.
It doesn't matter. I mean, the thing is, it was whether it's phone, it could be voice over IP. I don't know whether it's the computers, phone, whatever it is. They were granted access in October, and the FISA warrants can be made public, and I encourage them. They should be put out there for the public to see.
But Paul, come in and comment.
Well, first, Amy makes the argument that the president wouldn't say this if it wasn't based in some fact or truth. And I would like to believe that. But this is a guy who told us that Rafael Cruz, Ted Cruz's father, the senator from Texas, that Rafael Cruz, who himself is a Christian minister, was somehow complicit in the Kennedy assassination. This is a guy who told us President Obama wasn't born in America, that he was born in Kenya or something. This is a guy who has
something.
He's subscribed to every batty conspiracy theory. Again, I'm trying to clean up my language for daytime TV. Every batty conspiracy theory.
I think we can put that on the list. Batty.
I don't know. I'm not buying the batty. But first of all, what does he mean? What would he use instead of batty?
I don't know.
He says it's I got to clean up my language. I'm going to use batty.
Bullshit.
Instead of what? Bull crap?
Yeah.
Okay.
He didn't know what he was saying. But I do like how, well, what evidence do you have? Well, the New York Times published that they had a FISA warrant. Yeah, but that was just for something else. Here, Robbie Mook, former campaign manager for Hillary Clinton, came on to Fox and Friends. Let me rephrase that. Went on Fox and Friends.
Well, I think it's important to step back, first of all, and remember the facts here. The facts are that Trump aides were caught talking to Russian agents, and they were
ambassadors, agents. I love the terminology. Agents.
Facts are that Trump aides were caught talking to Russian agents, and those conversations were captured because the intelligence community regularly taps the phone lines of those Russian agents. So I think it's important to start there.
You say there was a wiretap? You say there was a wiretap?
That there was a wiretap of Russian agents, and that those Russian agents were communicating with Trump staff. That's why they were picked up.
How do you know that?
Intelligence community. That's what the intelligence community has told us. That's what's been reported very widely. Those are the facts. So were there wiretaps of Russian agents? Absolutely. The question is, why in the world were Trump aides talking to Russian agents so much? The Attorney General still hasn't come forward. We know he lied to the Senate committee. He perjured himself. He has not come forward to fully explain why
Robbie,
he was
do we know the nature of the conversations? Do we know what they were talking about?
No, and that's what we really need to find out. We need to get to the bottom of exactly what was going on. Why were so many conversations happening in the first place?
Okay. So you hear how the story is built, how it's put together. And I know we played a clip of Clapper, but I don't know if it's the same clip, but I don't think you had this piece in it, where he is asked point blank if there was any evidence of Trump-Russia collusion.
I can't speak officially anymore, but I will say that for the part of the national security apparatus that I oversaw as DNI, there was no such wiretap activity mounted against the president-elect at the time, or as a candidate, or against his campaign. I can't speak for other Title III authorized entities in the government or a state or local entity.
Yeah, I was just going to say, if the FBI, for instance, had a FISA court order of some sort for a surveillance, would that be information you would know or not know?
Yes.
You would be told this?
I would know that.
If there was a FISA court order on something like this?
Something like this, absolutely.
And at this point, you can't confirm or deny whether that exists?
I can deny it.
Oh.
There is no FISA court order?
Not to my knowledge.
So the New York Times must be lying?
Of anything at Trump Tower?
No.
Well, that's an important revelation at this point. Let me ask you this. Does intelligence exist that can definitively answer the following question, whether there were improper contacts between the Trump campaign and Russian officials?
We did not include any evidence in our report, and I say our, that's NSA, FBI, and CIA with my office, the Director of National Intelligence, that had any reflection of collusion between members of the Trump campaign and the Russians. There was no evidence of that included in our report.
I understand that, but does it exist?
Not to my knowledge.
If it existed, it would have been in this report.
This could have unfolded or become available in the time since I left the government. But at the time, we had no evidence of such collusion.
There you go. At the time, and now he didn't leave until January 25th, I believe. Well after these allegations were made, no?
Yes. Well, he lied before Congress.
Yeah.
And he maybe he's just a liar. I mean, they're always pointing at everybody else as a liar. Why can't this guy be?
Well, he's saying there was no FISA court warrant. That is interesting.
Which is nobody agrees with this. There's too much evidence that there were two of them.
I'm not a fan of Kennedy on Fox because I worked with her and she was douchey at MTV. She broke my ass. I should probably tell the story.
She broke your ass?
Yeah, it was the MTV Beach House, which was the first year of that was fantastic. It was a great idea. Everyone was out in the Hamptons in a huge mansion, and we were doing our shows from there. And I think I was doing a segment with Kennedy on wave runners, which are now mistakenly called jet skis. And I was doing my segment, standstill, in the water, and she thought it would be funny to ram her wave runner into me. When, of course, I'm not expecting it from behind. And what happens, I fall off, and I fall on the edge of the wave runner with my ass. And it actually ruptured the muscle. And so to this day, I have a little dent in my butt. Thank you, Kennedy.
Well, I don't see why you'd ever like her after that.
She couldn't. She couldn't. No, that was. She couldn't really even apologize. It was.
She was too busy laughing at you.
She's. I think she's a very insecure, introverted person, which is why she acts this way. I did like this segment she did with a Fox News contributor, Lieutenant Colonel Peterson, former Army
that character
intelligence officer. Yeah, I liked how she. Now I cut out most of what she said just to get to the what do we call it?
The nut.
No, the coin of the realm. The coin of the realm.
Oh, the coin of the realm.
The timing is very curious. Do you think that this dump of WikiLeaks CIA information coincides perfectly, for some reason, with Donald Trump's claims that the Obama administration was wiretapping his phones in Trump Tower?
Of course it does. And this is Russian intelligence working through its cutout, WikiLeaks, trying to cover up for the blooper when the president said, without any substantiation whatsoever, that President Obama was wiretapping him. Nothing in this release says that the CIA was spying on the American people. Nothing. These techniques are techniques we use against our enemies. But I'm a patriot. I've worked in intelligence. The CIA is too busy to spy on people's lives. It's not interesting. Their lives aren't interesting. I'm going to tell you, the American people are being spied on.
Yes.
Not by CIA, not by NSA, but by Google. Actually, the tools revealed in this WikiLeaks dump are pretty basic. They're common sense tools. Again, we need these tools to work against our enemies. Kennedy, you're a libertarian. How can you possibly in any way come to the defense of Vladimir Putin, who kills his opposition?
I don't come to the defense. If you've ever watched the show, I don't come to the defense
CIA,
of Vladimir Putin.
You're playing into Putin's hands.
No,
you're playing into Putin's hands.
No, and I also won't give into the new Cold War hysteria, those flames that people are fanning for their own political convenience. And I'm glad that Silicon Valley is going to stand up for itself, its customers, and for privacy, and defend some of these egregious steps that the government has made.
They are defending their profits. They're greedy pigs.
I agree with Lieutenant Colonel there at the end.
I'll give you a borderline clip of the day just for the end of that clip.
That's why I played the whole thing. I have a couple more. I have two Martha Raddatz in this segment, then I'll be done with it. As she, of course, she was really on. Martha Raddatz is aggressive. She's really aggressive with people, which I do like from a news reporter. Not so much the way it turned out here with former White House spokeshole Josh Earnest.
But President Obama's former speechwriter, Jon Favreau, your former colleague, tweeted, "I'd be careful about reporting that Obama said there was no wiretapping. Statement just said that neither he nor the White House ordered it." Can you categorically deny that the Obama Justice Department did not seek and obtain a FISA court-ordered?
This is very interesting that Favreau tweeted that. Why would he feel the need to tweet that out?
I agree. I remember when that came out, I was thinking it was...
Just so you know, people, the president, first of all, President Obama didn't say anything, and we need to talk about President Obama. He didn't say anything. It was through, channels, spokesholes, And now this guy is saying, oh, words matter, which is the Obama administration was very good at this. He didn't say there was no wiretapping. He said he didn't order it. Of course not.
Categorically deny, Martha, is that the White House was at all involved in directing or interfering or influencing an FBI investigation of any sort.
That's not what I'm asking. What I'm asking is, can you deny that the Obama Justice Department did not seek and obtain a FISA court-ordered wiretap of the Trump campaign?
It was a cardinal rule. Here's the simple answer to that question is, Martha, I don't know. And it's not because I'm no longer in government. The fact is, even when I was in government, I was not in a position of being regularly briefed on an FBI criminal or counterintelligence investigation. The White House, no one at the White House, including the President of the United States, should be in a position in which they're trying to influence or dictate how that investigation is being conducted.
Do you know whether the president was ever given information about surveillance at Trump Tower?
What I can tell you, well, first of all, I'm not aware of all of the details of how the president was briefed by the FBI. But what I can tell you is the president was not giving marching orders to the FBI about how to conduct their investigations. He was not asking for regular updates on FBI investigations. And let me just stipulate one more time. You have to ask the FBI whether there actually is an investigation into Mr. Trump, his associates, his campaign. That's for them to talk about. That is not something that was talked about or directed or managed by the White House, because this is a cardinal rule. These are rules that have been in place since Watergate.
Let me ask you about something.
It's amazing how many different versions of the story are out there. And no one really has any proof. No one has shown anything pro or against. Finally, it was rather interesting. Of course, we
it's outrageous.
From news organizations, yes. The White House sent out a number of people to combat the story on the news shows on Sunday. Of course, we were doing the show. And one of them is just funny to listen to. We'll be seeing more of her, I hope. Sarah Huckabee Sanders is a deputy spokeshole for the White House. And she is indeed Mike Huckabee's daughter, who married a Sanders. For a minute, no, don't tell me she's also involved with Bernie Sanders. But no, she married her dad's political consultant. And so there you go. Kind of incestuous. And she went on, and she has a great accent. She's completely the opposite of what you just heard in Josh Earnest there.
Where is he getting this information?
Look, I think there have been quite a few reports. I know that Jonathan and others.
She's a big-time looker.
There's earlier in the program mentioned that it was all conservative media, but that's frankly not true. The New York Times, BBC have also talked about and reported on the potential of this having had happened. I think the bigger thing is, let's find out. Let's have an investigation. If they're going to investigate Russia ties, let's include this as part of it. And so that's what we're asking.
Was the principal source the Breitbart story, which links to the New York Times, but the New York Times doesn't say anything definitive? Donald Trump does. There is no...
What do you mean the New York Times doesn't say anything? They're very definitive in their piece. I'm confused by her saying that. What she's insinuating is that the president only reads Breitbart, and they just put a little compendium together, and that was then his source. That's pretty rude.
Donald Trump does. There is nothing equivocating about what he says. I just found out that Obama had my wires tapped. That's not looking into something. He says it happened.
Look, I think the bigger thing is you guys are always telling us to take the media seriously. Well, we are today. We're taking the report.
Yeah, good try, Huckabee. I wouldn't do that.
Places like the New York Times, Fox News, BBC, multiple outlets have reported this. All we're saying is let's take a closer look. Let's look into this. If this happened, if this is accurate, this is the biggest overreach and the biggest scandal.
The president of the United States is accusing the former president of wiretapping him.
I think that this is, again, something that if this happened, Martha,
if.
Oh, my goodness, a good one.
If.
That's a nice one.
Yeah, you better isolate that one.
Okay, let me see.
If. Putin.
If.
All right, finish it up.
I agree.
Why is the president saying it did happen?
Look, I think he is going off of information that he's seen that has led him to believe that this is a very real potential. And if it is, this is the greatest overreach and the greatest abuse of power that I think we've ever seen, and a huge attack on democracy itself. And the American people have a right to know if this took place.
Okay.
I'm done with it. You get the idea. But what was kind of on top of this, final one for me, is Mika on Morning Joe took this initiative from these, I think Kellyanne Conway was out, and this Huckabee, Sarah Huckabee.
Give them blowjobs.
Well, what Mika Brzezinski is insinuating in this clip, and she does this with Joanna Coles, who I know. She was my client. Joanna Coles worked at, she was the editor-in-chief at Marie Claire, and we were doing the Marie Claire website. This is a long time. Maybe, I don't know what we were doing. Was that in the Pod Show days? Maybe it was the Pod Show days. I can't remember. So we're doing something from Marie. And so I worked with her a lot. She's very nice, British. She is now the chief content editor for Hearst Magazines, whatever that means. She has a total show business background. She actually was one of the co-creators of, I think, Running in Heels and Project Runway. So
okay, well, there we get to her.
You got her background there. Okay. But Mika, of course, is saying that what was happening is the Trump administration, or the president himself, threw the women to the lions.
I couldn't help but notice in the past half hour that the people that are being put out by the White House to clean up this mess, doesn't even describe it, are women. And I'm not proud. Are these White House spokespeople?
What a sexist pig.
Yeah, it gets better.
Are these White House spokespeople? How would you describe them? Joanna Coles, go.
Well, first of all, yes, they are.
Scum? Did she say scum?
No. Are they White House press people? And the answer is yes. She's the deputy spokeshole, which is on her business card. But what she's saying is Trump is throwing the women out there.
Go.
Well, I watched poor Sarah wrestling yesterday, but to be fair, she was wrestling with Martha Raddatz. So you do have women interrogating about it too. You're sitting on the other side of the desk. So I feel like this is a sort of equal opportunity slugfest at the moment. But I will say, I went to see a horror movie yesterday afternoon, the new one by Jordan Peele, Get Out, and it felt like nothing compared to the actual horror show going on in Washington. I mean, it's like, how does popular culture respond at a moment like this? I have no interest any longer in seeing Homeland because it couldn't.
What?
Just stop this clip for a second. I am now, as I listen to this particular clip, wondering how this clip was left out of the visit to the other dimension.
The alternate universe, yes.
This is way better than those other. This is outrageously in it. I don't know what they're talking about. Mika's she's unhinged.
Yeah, you're right. I should have put it in a different segment. But the unhinged part is that she believes Trump just threw out some women to go take the pounding, take the beating.
Yeah,
and then
that's what she believes. Meanwhile, she's a woman doing the beating, and Martha Raddatz is a woman doing the beating, and this other woman's. It's only women.
Except she goes off. She can't even answer the question. She just goes off into, it's a shit show.
It felt like nothing compared to the actual horror show going on in Washington. I mean, it's like, how does popular culture respond at a moment like this? I have no interest any longer in seeing Homeland because it couldn't be as interesting as what's going on. And you think, how is anyone going to be able to compete with this?
Is this, when you look at the job of the White House spokesperson and how history has shown them to be, are these two women representative of what we want? Are they doing their job? And exactly what is it they're doing? One of them I won't even have on this show.
Well, and clearly he hadn't included them before he sent the tweet, right? So they had no forewarning. They had no idea what he was basing this on. And so, as you say, they're left to clear up the mess.
Ah, yes, the women are left to clear up the mess. Yeah, of course it's bull crap.
I never said, where's the mess? I don't even notice it. I could be.
But again,
well, it's a dimensional thing. What am I supposed to say?
Yeah, nothing. Again,
but these people are completely. Of course, we're not talking about a thing that's very popular anyway. But
no,
these shows.
I also looked at the American Health Care Act.
Okay.
And, well, I'm not going to go through it now because I don't know why everyone is trying to say it's horrible. It's not. These people need a lesson in civics and how government works. What I understand is this is part one. This is a part of the budget, so you can't actually put in a whole bunch of laws. This is just stopping a number of things that can be done in this budget. There are two more, I think, bills that'll have to go through after this is done. This is kind of like a precursor. There is something funny in there.
We're waiting for a complete report from you at some point, but if you have something funny, that can be used as a tease.
Yes, the funny thing in this report, and again, what it does is it stops the taxation mandate. That's the main thing that it does. And it's just, they can do that because it's a financial bill. I'm not going to get deep into it because I would sound like a fool and people send me a lot of email. But there are two more pieces to come, so we're a long way off from, in particular, changing the insurance market so they can go across state lines. So anyone who is saying anything about this is full of crap. It's not there yet. But there is a whole clause in this, a whole section, quite a long one, about people who are lottery winners. If you win anything over $80,000, you should not have Medicaid or health care from the government or vouchers or anything like that. Is this a problem that I'm unaware of? Are there so many lottery winners?
There's actually quite a few.
That's a lot, man.
But they tend to exploit the system. I don't know why they had to put it in. I think there's some sort of fraud involved anyway.
Oh, I'm sure there is. I just thought that was interesting. There's a lot of just a big section on this. Like, okay, fine.
Yeah.
So there's real, and of course, since I read the original Affordable Health Care Act, or Affordable Care Act, I should say, of course I'm reading this, and I will have a full report. Not there yet. It's just not there. Anyone who's reporting on it is talking out of their butt.
Okay. What time do we got here?
Yeah, we're a little behind.
Well, maybe we still have to do. We still have a segment to do.
I know we have a whole. Well, you know what? Why don't we do this?
Well, since we're going to talk about money. I have a money clip.
Okay.
Uber value.
Oh, can't wait to hear this one.
Question: what has Costa Rica got in common with Panama? Answer: they are both worth less than Uber.
That is, of course, in a manner of speaking. See, when you look at gross domestic product, Costa Rica sits at around about $55 billion a year. Similarly, when you look at Panama, it's around about $52 billion a year. And then you have Uber, recently valued near $68 billion. That is for an app. They don't even own the cars. And over there, another tech startup, small premises, big ambitions, huge valuation.
Snapchat, parent company Snap, valued at around $30 billion when it went public recently, putting it above El Salvador, Estonia, St. Lucia, and Samoa, among others. The newest member of this billion-dollar club. Question is, how can apps, which are basically computer code, be worth such dizzying amounts?
What goes into deciding how much a company is worth when it's worth such an astronomical amount?
Oh, that's easy. It's worth precisely what people will pay for it.
Which is true.
That's absolutely true. Well, to take us into our donation segment, I thought I would play a little piece. It's a little off the wall for us, and it's from another podcast.
Uh-oh.
But it was a coming together.
I remember being condemned for doing this some years ago.
Yeah, but you were playing really shit podcasts and laughing at people.
Well, there's that.
This is when Joe Rogan had Alex Jones on his show. Now, granted,
yes, I didn't hear this.
Granted, they were smoking weed.
I bet.
Which made it a little odd. But there was this one piece, and one of our producers sent it to me, I'm very grateful, that explains a lot about him and about the models used.
This is one of the few things that I have really gotten wrong, and I didn't go with my gut, and so I was proven wrong, and I did it for the wrong reason. So now I'm going to actually confess here on air. I was on one radio station. I've been on Access TV for a few years. I was on one radio station. I already started a show out of my house that was on like 15 radio stations, so I had that at least. But I was on one big radio station, had the top show at night, on a station with Howard Stern. It was a killer. It was all over the newspaper, had huge ratings, and I was bringing in like 20, 30 grand a month, which was just a huge amount for me.
Oh, stop. Wow. We got to get into radio.
That's what I've always said.
He bring in 20 to 30 grand a month 15 years ago. Imagine what the guy's making now.
Oh, yeah.
It's crazy.
One big radio station had the top show at night on a station with Howard Stern. Was killer. It was all over the newspaper. Had huge ratings. And I was bringing in 20, 30 grand a month, which was just a huge amount for me, building a whole operation out of that at home. And they come to the sales guys and they go, look, for a year, you've not been behind Y2K. And you're not letting us have all these big sponsors, and you're going to basically be fired if you don't let us endorse these sponsors and have them on air and say you believe in Y2K.
Hold on a second. So these sponsors were like doomsday stuff, like canned food and shit, and
bunkers and everything else. So I already believe in food.
So they
got to
push Y2K.
But let me tell you what happened.
Y2K means.
But the station wants to make all this money. Okay?
So the station made you push Y2K. Wow.
Well, but let me go further. This is one of the few times in my life that I don't want to say I didn't have integrity. I kind of let them convince me. But I think back to the point in the conference room, I just kind of went, okay, sure, I get it. And then I went, and then once I decided it was true, I really pushed it. So it's almost like I lied to myself, because I'm being honest about this process.
Right. How about that?
Well, that explains a lot of these old clips. It also excuses a lot of the old clips, so you can't be sure if how sincere he is.
Yeah.
Where you can hear, he does the Y2K broadcast. They're around the net. You can find them. Where he's saying, oh, my God, the power has shut down in Buffalo. It looks like it's going to get worse. It's going to sweep across the country. We're all going to die. Yeah. And he went on and on with this Y2K broadcast that was just like, what is he talking about?
Yeah, I'm still taking my iodine from the InfoWars shop for the big Fukushima cloud that's going to kill us.
Yeah, well, good.
So this is just one of the many reasons we don't like to take money from corporate advertisers.
I'm going to show my support by donating to No Agenda. Imagine all the people who could do that. Oh, yeah, that'd be fab. Yeah, on No Agenda. In the morning.
We do have a few people to thank for show 910. And we can't take advertising. You can see the problem. I mean, if Alex's story is correct, it influenced his judgment.
Big time. That's the part that gets me. Is he convinced himself?
He convinced himself. This can happen. This is the problem. This is why we have to do this show.
I also thought Skittles were the best. Oh my God, I'm turning into Sharpton.
Robert Vogel starts off. Well, we don't have a lot of people today, but it's enough. Robert Vogel, Franklin, North Carolina, 16262. It's a birthday call out for me. We got him on the list. He's 62 on March 8th. He also has a douchebag call out for my Naval Academy roommate, Bob S.
Douchebag.
And a close friend of the over 60 years club to whom I propagated the
40 years.
Oh, I'm sorry. I forced my girlfriend to listen to No Agenda in the car, but she still tells me that No Agenda has an agenda. Yeah, the agenda is no agenda. Dame Karen, she's obviously, she's a hillbot. What are you going to do? There's a lot of people that just will not listen to what we have to say.
No.
Dame Karen of Cimarron Hills, 12345 in Colorado Springs, Colorado. Sandala Siddiqui? I think it's Siddiqui.
I'd say Siddiqui.
Yeah. It's an Indian name. 115. And she's making the donation on behalf of Pranav Parikh. I hope I got that right. Sir Ferdinand Becker, 11258. 58. ITM gents, high praise to you for continuing to expose the fake news on a bi-weekly basis. I've been listening for about 3 years now on my family commute. I'm going to use that now.
On my family commute. Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah. Anyway, okay.
And he's going to be I guess he'll be a knight today, is he not?
Yeah, he's going to be. It's
a title change, right? He's going to become a baron, and he will be Baron of Roberts Bay, Sarasota, Florida. Good. Looking forward to your title change.
Good area.
Good. Excellent.
Brian Mickey in San Francisco, California, 100. Carter Blumeyer in Windermere, Florida, 100. All
right, niner.
Jeez. Ty Sprague, who sent a check in with a cartoon attached and a note attached and a written note attached and a printed note attached. And I might want to mention that Dame Astrid sent me a Christmas card that she failed to send earlier, and she wrote it all in longhand and complained bitterly most of the time about doing it in longhand. We've noticed a lot of people write these longhand notes and then they send a typed version. So,
I think it's a great. I think everyone should send Christmas cards on July 4th. Something like that. It's a great idea. It's funny.
Thanks for an outstanding
season's greetings.
You guys give along with the tips you extend to us. My vote is for more tips. Keep them coming. Now he has a review of the tips.
Aha.
The Kindle Paperwhite. Excellent product.
Oh, it's a long time ago, that one.
Yeah. The Legal brand coffee. Ironic, it comes from Mexico. Pretty good instant coffee. Inkjoy pens. Meh. Right.
Yeah, I didn't like those. I just ordered my my Precise V7 from Pilot again, the RTs.
Good for you. Try. It says try Sprague. Huh. Anyway, Tony Andres in 90. Please credit to Tony Andres. Okay, it's Andres, 90. Robert Evans in San Jose, California, 90. Kyle McPherson, 8007. Sir Brian Green of Hams, KC9YJM, 73.
73 is Kilo 5 Alpha Charlie.
And his donation is appropriately 73 out of New York City.
It's a donation of Hams.
Herman Geldenhuis. Didn't we just do him?
Geldenhuis
in Cape Town, Western Cape. I'm a late listener to the Best Podcast. I was hit in the mouth by Thunis du Trois. What is it? Trois in South Africa back in April. I myself am a South African who fled to Montreal, which is where I'd like to establish my knighthood one day. Please give me a de-douching and give Thunis a douchebag, please.
You've been de-douched.
Jeremy Plug in Roseville, California. Something about golden Cadillacs. Parker Wilson in Charlotte, North Carolina, and Eric Brune. William Miller, 5005. The Charlotte donation was 5151. Jeremy was 5311. 5005 is William Miller. Now the rest of these people are $50 donors, name and location. Eric Brune, anonymous in Milton, Ontario. Anthony Fields, another anonymous, someplace else. Jonathan Meyer in Xenia, Ohio. Tim Abel in Berkfield, Berkshire, UK. David Schlesinger in Rosemont, Illinois. Gene Ablin in Sonora, California. Edward Mazurek in Memphis, Tennessee. Tennessee's got a lot of people. We should do a meetup there. Larry Hay in Mooresville, North Carolina. And rounding out with David Pete in Aubrey, Texas. Drew Muchak in El Cerrito, just down the street from me. And finally, Sir Brett Farrell in Oklahoma City and Sir Brian Watson in Raleigh, North Carolina. That concludes our list of producers for show 910. And we don't have to remind people there is a short period of time till the Sunday show, and hopefully we can get a few more people in.
Thank you very much, everybody. We did not have to convince you of Y2K in order to pay the rent.
We're all going to die.
Sounds a lot more profitable. I do like that idea. Also, everybody who came in under the amount of $50, thank you very much. That's usually for reasons of anonymity, and people also on our subscription. So thank you. And, of course, another show coming up on Sunday.
Dvorak.org/NA.
In case you need
it. Jobs, and jobs. Let's vote for jobs.
You've got karma.
Super short list today. Robert Vogel, 62 yesterday. And Parker Lawson says happy birthday to his brother Caleb, celebrating on Saturday. Happy birthday to everybody here at the best podcast in the universe. Quick title change we have here today. Sir Ferdinand Becker came in with a donation today, and that puts him over the top and makes him Baron of Roberts Bay, Sarasota, Florida. Congratulations. And, of course, that will be reflected on the peerage map at itm.im/peerage. And thank you very much, good sir. We have 3 knightings today, actually 1 dame and 2 knights. So I get up my special sword for that one. If you got,
I'm taking it. out now.
Anonymous, hop on up, lady. David Lane, come on by, and Andrew Wheeloff. All of you have supported the best podcast in the universe, the amount of $1,000 or more. That means you not only get the ring, you get the sealing wax, but you get the certificate and the title and a spot at the No Agenda Roundtable for Knights and Dames. So I hereby proudly pronounce the Dame Anonymous Goddess, Sir David of the Show Me State, and Sir Andrew of the Wet Drains. For you, we have Hookers and Blow, Rent Boys and Chardonnay, Sappho and Spice, Meth Sluts and Moonshine, Garlic and Broccoli, Pork Ribs and Pale Ale. We got whiskey and wet wipes. We got 3 geishas and a bucket of fried chicken, geishas and sake, Bach and Villa. We got sparkling sign escorts, ginger ale and gerbils, and of course, mutton and mead, all at noagendanation.com/rings. Head on over there quickly. Let Eric the Shill know where we can send it to and your ring size, and we'll take care of it. And thank you very much. Okay. Well, I have a number.
Well, we got a couple of things left.
Yeah, I do. I do have a few.
I do want to play. I at least want to get this out of the way. This is about the WikiLeaks situation. That apparently General Hayden went on the BBC. He's out and about quite a bit because he's like the official.
Well, he's a consultant, so he needs to be out there.
He needs to be out and about.
Yeah.
And he blames it on the millennials.
I only know what I've just heard in the report and what I've quickly read in a few news reports. The agency is not yet confirming or denying the authenticity. So I've got to put that out there. Now, if what I have read is true, then this seems to be an incredibly damaging leak in terms of the tactics, techniques, procedures, and tools that were used by the Central Intelligence Agency to conduct legitimate foreign intelligence. In other words, it's made my country and my country's friends less safe.
What do you do about the issue of people inside the intelligence community? As Mark was saying there are 800,000 with top security clearance here, 21,000 in the CIA alone. Someone somewhere got hold of these documents and decided to pass them on. How do you ever stop that happening?
Yeah, that appears to be the story, Caddy. I don't want to jump to conclusions. Let's see how this plays out. There are other possibilities, but let's take that as our working hypothesis. And you've raised an incredibly difficult question. Number one, just the sheer number, as Mark's pointed out. How do you make sure every one of them was and remains, which may be the problem from time to time, a loyal American or a loyal member of British security services and so on? Beyond that, Caddy, there's another dynamic at work here. In order to do this kind of stuff, we have to recruit from a certain demographic. And I don't mean to judge them at all, but this group of millennials and related groups simply have different understandings of the words loyalty, and secrecy, and transparency than certainly my generation did.
Nailed it.
And so we bring these folks into the agency, good Americans all, I can only assume. But again, culturally, they have different instincts than the people who made the decision to hire them. And we may be running into this different cultural approach that we saw with Chelsea Manning, with Edward Snowden, and now perhaps with a third actor.
That's great.
I thought it was pretty funny.
Yeah, he nails it. Of course the millennials are the problem.
Now, I would say, I'd bring it back to something you said earlier in the show.
And I'm generalizing, of course. We have millennials that listen to this show who are not the problem.
We have a lot of millennials that are very loyal.
They're not the problem. They're not the problem.
No. But you said something early in the show that applies directly to this clip, which is, have you ever taken a class in civics?
Yes.
And I don't think I blame the education system. I don't blame the millennials. The millennials have been brought up to be these no borders, no nations, this sort of thing. And if you're a no borders, no nation person, which from the looks of it is everybody who didn't vote for Trump.
Yeah,
you're a problem if you're going to be in this spy.
Yeah. Well, there's other problems with the millennials. The CEO of Urban Outfitters had a conference call. They do that, for the quarterly earnings. Millennials are not shopping in malls. And his direct quote, like housing, the retail bubble has now burst. They're trying to get schools to go into malls now. They overbuilt these huge malls everywhere in the United States.
It's a huge problem.
And everybody is, of course, shopping online.
Retail numbers are a mess.
Yeah, we go to retail to look, and then we buy it online.
I don't think there's as much of that as there is
loitering.
They're just not going. You go there to loiter.
Just loitering.
It's the millennials, at least the ones I know, which are, I got 1, 2, 3, 4 of them that I observe. They buy they don't buy the same stuff that we buy.
I don't buy.
They don't
nothing.
buy a can of Libby's sauerkraut, for example, or a big bottle of some sauerkraut from some German company.
No, they get small batch.
They get a small batch, exactly, and we mock it, but it's a fact. They get what is perceived as small batch, even though it's not. But it's packaged as small batch.
It's white labeled. It's white labeled.
Much.
Yeah.
It costs twice as much as some other packaging you normally don't see stuff in. A lot of the flexi packaging that is very modern, actually, and expensive. Not as expensive per package, but expensive equipment. And it's all this crazy stuff. I mean, I would see the cottage cheese, for example. I know the brands of cottage cheese that I see around.
Brickstone is fantastic.
I don't even know what that is. It's obviously a millennial brand.
No, it's not. It's not a millennial brand. It's what Tina and I eat. We are far from millennials.
I never heard of it. It could be a Texas brand. Whatever the case is, all the stuff they buy is offbeat.
Yeah.
It's offbeat stuff that has got a story. This is the thing they always say. You read the marketing material.
And they're buying
everything
stuff.
Everything has to have a story behind it.
Yeah, and wait. I have a relatable story. And, of course, they're all buying Blue Apron, Plated, all of these food services.
A lot of them, yeah.
Which I've stopped doing. I canceled my subscription.
Uh-oh.
You know why?
I'm wondering.
Okay, Plated. So what they do is they send me 2 meals a week for 2 people. It's enough. I'll cook at home, and it's easy because everything's in the right measurement. All you have to do is just follow the instructions. Very nice big card. Everything's easy. I'm not a bad cook, but it's very easy. It's fun to do. And I always go and rate the recipes. I'm giving feedback for the algo.
The what?
The algo. For the algorithm.
Oh, the algo. Algorithm.
I'm teaching the algo what I like and what I don't like. So this is why I canceled.
The algo got it wrong.
The algo gave me, this week, chicken, kale, and quinoa bowl. Yeah, no. I'm not eating kale and quinoa.
So you have, by your own, whatever you do for your life, and by whatever your feedback was on whether something's good or bad, you have defined yourself as a crackpot liberal kale eater.
Somehow I've done that.
To the algo.
I don't know what I did wrong. I don't know. It's very sad. And I know I said no to different kale recipes.
Huh. Perhaps maybe it's a mean-spirited algo.
And the algo is crap.
Says this guy. Let's give it to him. Let's give him a quinoa kale with bacon bits.
There is no bacon bits. Sun-dried tomatoes. There's one other thing that may be a depression sign, but it's also millennials. The CDC is warning parents that children are drinking hand sanitizers because of the alcoholic content. And this is apparently a thing.
There was a report on this the other day. I didn't clip anything, but yes, I noticed this. But I don't know what kind of children, what kind of dumb. Are your kids that stupid?
Yeah, the kids are pretty stupid, John, for sure. They're doing dumb stuff.
Yeah, well, that's really dumb. That's outrageously dumb. Now, I have a couple of clips left here as we wrap. Do we have 10 minutes left? Is that thing going to be?
So we haven't gotten the timer yet, but we should be pretty close to that.
So there's a North Korea situation.
Wait,
developing.
Stop.
Less than 10 minutes to go.
No.
Okay?
Sorry, you hit the timer. There you go.
I can save the Prime Minister questions because it's mostly just this, it's her getting the last word in a very nasty way. That's what she does well.
Right.
this is a good little story. This Trump trademarks in China, which I think is going to boil over.
Let's do a non-Trump story. Let's just do a non-Trump story.
North Korea report from CBS.
That's what I think is a good story. Okay, CBS.
Today, China warned the U.S. of an arms race in the Pacific after the Pentagon delivered parts of a new missile defense system to South Korea. Earlier this week, North Korea launched missiles in what it called a rehearsal for an attack on U.S. military bases. David Martin is learning more about that test.
The missiles lifted off simultaneously. So close together, an infrared satellite looking down from space initially identified those rocket plumes as coming from a single missile. The four flew toward Japan in a barrage intended to overwhelm anti-missile defenses. North Korea said the launch from an airstrip in the northwest was conducted by a unit whose mission is to attack U.S. bases in Japan. Had the missiles been launched from the East Coast, they could have reached Japan. Patriot anti-missile batteries already stationed in Japan and South Korea should have been able to shoot them down if necessary. And the U.S. is now beefing up those defenses by adding a high-altitude system known as THAAD, which began arriving in Korea.
What's it called?
THAAD.
THAAD. Yeah, okay, I know about that.
Adding a high-altitude system known as THAAD, which began arriving in Korea Monday night, although it will be months before it becomes operational. The missiles launched on Monday date back to the 1990s, but North Korea is developing more modern missiles like this one tested last month, and U.S. intelligence has detected signs it may be preparing to test it again. A UN report obtained by CBS News concluded North Korea has demonstrated major technological progress within a short period of time, among other things, significantly increasing the range of its missiles. North Korea is expected to launch several more missiles in the coming weeks to show its anger over U.S. military exercises going on in South Korea. The North Korean news agency accused President Trump of creating a nuclear confrontational hysteria. Secretary of State Tillerson will travel to Japan, South Korea, and China next week. U.S. officials say China is the one country with the ability to rein in North Korea. And so far, Scott, that has not happened.
David Martin.
Two comments.
What's left out of the story is what China's doing.
Well,
China has decided to take action by pulling the plug on pretty much all of the tourist business.
Oh.
And apparently South Korea.
You can't go to China as a tourist anymwhat? Oh, you mean the Chinese tourists to Korea? Ah, okay.
Yeah, here, play the North Korea follow-up.
All right, I was going to say what I liked about that clip, two things. But the main thing is I love how they keep putting the rocket sound in there.
Yes.
It sounds really good.
Welcome back. A DPRK national suspected of involvement in the murder of Kim Jong-un arrived.
Never mind this. Let's go to China, South Korea, tourist kerfluffle. This will bring us up to speed.
Oh, okay. I got you now.
Now, China's National Tourism Administration released a warning on Friday to remind Chinese citizens to exercise caution when deciding to travel to South Korea. Soon after the statement was released, many major tourism agencies removed tour plans to South Korea from their websites. For more on the industry and public response to the warning, CGTN's Hunan brings us this report.
Official data show that over 8.2 million people from China went to South Korea last year. That accounts for nearly half of all the country's foreign tourists. While now the industry stakeholders fear their business might slump as a result of Chinese tourism authorities' warning on Friday. Last month, a number of Chinese tourists were denied entry to South Korea. After being detained for several hours at local airport, they were ultimately sent back to China. The warning is a direct response to an increasing number of cases of Chinese citizens being unable to enter South Korea.
Well, good catch.
This is really getting out of control, too. They're talking, everybody talks about us, but let's play these out. This is another one, China Tourist 2.
Okay, hold on. Yeah, got it here.
but also companies related to the duty-free sector. One of the big cosmetic firms also took a big hit. As we just heard in the report, around 50% of the tourists to South Korea are Chinese, but they account for 80%. That's a whopping portion of all duty-free spending. Wow. So we're seeing really companies in the duty-free sector taking a big hit. Also hotels, restaurants. But back in October, there was also an intent to curb group tours from China by 20% over 6 months. Over January and February, the number of tourists, Chinese tourists arriving here year on year actually rose by 10%. So it appears that people were circumventing those restrictions simply by booking their own tickets, their own hotel rooms, their own flights. And there's nothing to stop them doing that in this case as well, because the restrictions only focus on group bookings.
So they're getting, I mean, I had no idea this was even going on, but it's turned into a huge issue because of these missiles. And this is the kicker.
But are the missiles because of what the Chinese are doing?
No, the missiles are just because we can make a lot of money selling these idiots missiles.
So the question is, how much will John McCain give Kim Jong-il on the VIG for the sales?
He should give at least 10%, it seems to me.
Yeah.
Maybe 15. Anyway, let's play China-South Korea tourist kicker.
Having said that, people here want good relations. So, you know, there's a genuine concern, a desire to fix things. But they also say, you know, China has its own high-altitude missile defense system and nuclear weapons. South Korea has neither, but it would like the option of being able to shoot one down if Pyongyang were to launch one in this direction. And people are getting more and more galvanized on that point. The majority of people here support that deployment. It's getting more so. Or as the Herald, the Korean Herald here put it, there's a reaction to what is perceived to be mean-spirited bullying. And even politicians who questioned THAAD before are becoming more and more silent on the issue. So if the aim of all of these restrictions were to convince Koreans to opt out of THAAD, it appears quite the opposite effect is being had.
Okay, now I understand. It's because THAAD will directly threatens China.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the typical thing. It looks like, you know, there's other reports, we've had them on the show, where we're surrounding China with military. We're just surrounding China with a bunch of military action.
Yeah.
And the thing is, now it's gotten to the latest reports, now it's gotten to the point where the Chinese have like shut down, because there's a lot of Korean operations in China. They had the Lotte store, the Lotte, one of the largest department stores in the world, which is in South Korea, and a great store. It's like unbelievable. You can spend a day there. It's like Disneyland. Well, there's a version of it, a big one, not as big as the one in Korea, but there's a big one in China. I think it's outside of Beijing or around Beijing, and the health department shut it down. And there's all this sort of thing going on now that the export of Korean cars is being threatened, and there's all kinds of this. Well,
it's not like Trump hasn't said he was going to go after China. Maybe this is the retaliation.
I have no idea what. I think this is something that's been building. I think this really only has to do with the missile system we wanted to dump on these guys.
Right. Just staying, and I just want to wrap it up here, but I do have a quick clip from the UK Defense Minister Michael Fallon, who is not in agreement about this European army. And of course, we've been tracking this for quite a while now. They are creating, and this was promised, we will never have an army. I don't know if it's actually in the protocols of the Lisbon Treaty. I'll have to go back and look.
Probably not.
We'll never have an army. It'll never happen. And of course, it's happening. And now with the UK stepping out with the Brexit, you don't really want those guys with a big army.
Although we're leaving the European Union, we continue to cooperate with our European partners on defence and security, and in the fight against terrorism and aggression. This month we are deploying troops to Estonia, later to Poland, and we are sending RAF jets to Romania. We also continue to play our part in the European mission in the Mediterranean, rescuing migrants and tackling people smuggling. Today, we are urging the European Union to cooperate more closely with NATO to avoid unnecessary duplication of structures and to work together on new threats, including the need to strengthen cybersecurity.
I like that. Don't duplicate your efforts, please. Do not duplicate your efforts.
There was a lot of talk. We don't have any clips, but of them wanting to now go nuclear with the European
Army. I heard about this too.
Yeah, so that's going to be unique.
To wind up, John, I'd like to play two things to show you the influence of the No Agenda show. How we influence popular culture. How long have I been calling Facebook the face bag?
You began calling it that about 2.5 years ago, I believe, is the first time I heard it. Maybe before.
I would have to say it's less than 2 years because I believe I got it from Tina. So it's just under 2 years.
She said face bag?
She's the one that started it, yeah.
Okay.
She's a keeper, John. Hello.
Writing our material now.
This is Futurama. You like Futurama. You watch that show.
I like it. It's a good show.
Well, this was on a couple months ago.
We'll wait for something good.
No, don't quit. You have great ideas. You just need to get them out there with social media. Look, I posted your debate video on Facebag.
10,000 views? That's more than most water skiing squirrels get.
I don't know, man. I think we may have influenced somebody there. But
maybe. I mean, it doesn't surprise me that anyone who writes comedy, occasionally
wouldn't listen to anything you could, right?
They would listen to our show because our show is, like you said, it's a comedy show.
However, you, sir, have influenced a great man. You have taken your influence to a whole new level. You, sir, have influenced the no spin zone Bill O'Reilly. Are you ready?
Yeah, that'd be good.
You may remember that I put out an all-points bulletin for politicians and pundits to stop saying the words at the end of the day.
But at the end of the day.
At the end of the day.
At the end of the day.
But at the end of the day. But at the end of the day.
But at the end of the day.
At the end of the day.
End of the day. What? At the end of the day.
But at the end of the day. Stop. This is verbal pollution. Once again, at the end of the day does not ever need to be uttered again.
I think if you really look into it, you'll find that he used to say it all the time.
Well, we said it all the time, which is why we stopped ourselves from doing it.
Yeah, we stopped ourselves in our stopped dead.
It was horrific.
And I think we still have the end of the day clip.
I think we do.
Of us saying it once too many.
I think we do.
When we had that one listener who used to do this to us.
Exactly. All right, everybody. Thank you very much for participating in our little broadcast here. Remember, we do have another show coming up on Sunday. 1 hour earlier for those of you who are not on the international Gitmo time zone.
Yeah.
And as always,
in the morning for me.
I always look forward to it. I really do.
Yeah.
Coming to you from the Crackpot Condo here in the Skyscrapers, located in downtown Austin, Texas, which is FEMA Region 6 on the map. In the morning, everybody, I'm Adam Curry.
And from northern Silicon Valley, where Plato say, man who complain about moving stairway escalates the problem. I'm John C. Dvorak.
We will be back on Sunday, right here on No Agenda. Until then, adios, mofos!
But at the end of the day, they're backing him. They're backing. Come on.
At the end of the day.
At the end of the day, John, if someone wants to get anyone, they can get him.
At the end of the day.
At the end of the day, it's more important that we have entertainment.
At the end of the day.
So, at the end of the day, who's going to pay for the real loan? It's going to be taxpayer money.
At the end of the day.
But at the end of the day, that's going to be up to Valerie Jarrett.
At the end of the day.
I mean, at the end of the day, isn't that it?
At the end of the day.
At the end of the day, all this money is owed to bankers.
At the end of the day.
At the end of the day, I think it's good.
At
At the end of the day, At the end of the day, as Americans, what we always do is we always say, at the end of the day. So at the end of the day, it's not actually the health care, it's the... At the end of the day, At the end of the day, you can't deny I had to put less gas in. At the end of the day.
So at the end of the day, we're all anti-Semites.
At the end of the day. At the end of the day, you get, I think it's 4%. At the end of the day. Starts to run together at the end of the day. You kind of forget, right? And then at the end of the day.
You know, John, you and I are both in the audience business at the end of the day.
At the end of the day.
And so at the end of the day, she can say, hey, I told you so.
At the end of the day. But I don't say at the end of the day. I said it once, I think, ever.
We are one people with one destiny. We all bleed the same blood. We all salute the same flag. And we all made by the same God.
Wife out one day, 10 years ago.
And let's be honest, she deserved it.
Not naming him or telling you where he lives because of what's at stake.
Self into a special prosecutor, as Daryl Issa is asking for.
Special prosecutor of what?
It's hard to tell exactly how many.
Let alone suggested that charges are going to
So
be
you're saying until Congress comes out and says, here's the proof.
We're saying he had potty training issues and latent homosexuality issues that were unproved concepts.
determined, David, if all of this is...
Then you would say, because that would be possibly a criminal act, right?
No, it wouldn't.
Yeah, there's nothing. Very little, if anything. There's no congressional states.
But they have.
Psychiatrists were saying he had potty training issues.
And it's 1793. Right. And when they get to Jimmy Carter, Jesse Jackson...
Quality issues that were unproved concepts.
Not to think about it was all evil.
Find things on Hillary Clinton, those sorts of conversations. That would be treason, right? What? No? Fine.
Yeah, no, you played this clip.
If you are vice president,
wasn't vice president at the time,
then it's good to go.
He wasn't.
You know, I'm really glad the media finally woke up to this.
We hate foreigners.
No, little girl. No.
If you are vice president,
We hate foreigners.
Allegations. We need to know, is anyone compromised?
Gregory, do you want to hear it again?
No. Sir Gregory,
some of the Americans involved are accused of not telling the truth.
My mommy says you hate foreigners.
No. Words. They're saying he had potty training issues and
President of the United States. You have an AOL account. You should be impeached.
he wasn't vice president at the time.
Then he's good to go.
Thank you.
Then you would say,
let alone
for days. You have an AOL account. You should be impeached.
He wasn't vice president at the time.
Then he's good to go.
Thank you.
Thanks, Obama.
Mr. Farage, if you would like to kneel there. You are now Sir Nigel Farage. So arise, Sir Nigel.
Thank you very much. I'm honoured.
My mommy says you hate foreigners.
You're not supposed to say that.
I'm honoured.
My mommy says you hate foreigners.
You're not supposed to say that. You're not supposed to say that.
My mommy says you hate foreigners.
You're not supposed to say that.
I'm honoured.
My mommy says you hate foreigners.
Mr. Farage, if you would like to kneel there. You are now Sir Nigel Farage. So arise, Sir Nigel.
Thank you very much. I'm honoured.
My mummy says you hate foreigners.
You're not supposed to say that.
I'm honoured.
My mummy says you hate foreigners.
You're not supposed to say that. You're not supposed to say that.
My mummy says you hate foreigners.
You're not supposed to say that.
I'm honoured.
My mummy says you hate foreigners.
Mr. Farage, if you'd like to kneel there. You are now Sir Nigel Farage. So arise, Sir Nigel.
Thank you very much. I'm honoured.
Adios, mofo.
The best podcast in the universe. Dvorak.org/NA.
Thanks, Obama.